It's a very balanced football team.
Troy Wilkes, outstanding linebacker, defensive end, has been doing it all. A transfer from the University of Iowa with great speed, and they remind people here of John Lavellis.
Well, great. When you say great speed, you got to throw the number out there, 4.5 in the 40-yard dash. You'd like to see a wide receiver or running back put together that type of running speed, but he's a tough guy. ECAC Division III Player of the Week last week. 9.5 sacks. You can't leave that out. Just a super football player.
Tom Marshall says this is the best CW Post team he's ever had since coming here. We'll find out this afternoon. We'll be right back with more college football on Sports Channel.
The hard-charging Devils check out the Capitals in Washington. Live tonight at 7:30, exclusively on Sports Channel.
Back at Hickox Field, it's homecoming. And let's go down to the field. Our sideline reporter, Matt Loughlin.
All right, Barry, thank you very much indeed. A festive atmosphere here at CW Post. I'm joined by the fraternity brothers from ZBT and the Death Mobile behind us. They participated in the pregame homecoming parade. We'll find out whether or not they won any prizes for it. It was one of the more popular floats. Homecoming here has an interesting flavor because Bob Ricca, the St. John's head coach, played here in the 60s. Two members of his staff played here for CW Post, so a lot of emotion going on both sides of the field today. And fellas, who's going to win? What else did you expect them to say? Back upstairs, guys.
A lot of festive people here. And let's take a look at the series record between these two teams. 3-2, as you could see. CW Post trying to increase that lead. Last year, a very exciting game. St. John's winning it 31-28 on a field goal in the closing moments. And the rivalry has been a very intense one. So we're just about ready to go. CW Post won the toss. They deferred. They're kicking off here. And we'll be going right to left. And you see the deep men. Malfitano is 49. 82. Malfitano, rather, is 82. And 49 is Broadway. Wayne Liebert steps forward, and we're underway. Good end-over-end kick coming down inside the 10, around the 4-yard line. Amalfitano cutting to his right, and he will be taken down. Good coverage downfield, taken down at around the 12-yard line. And we have a flag on the play. Bringing him down was Derek Perez, the defensive back, number 15.
Derek with a great surge there. He is a good thing he made that tackle because there was some openings on the right side of the field, and he was headed toward them.
And there's our referee for today, Carmine Picardo.
Carmine working early.
And let's see, they will move the ball back. Penalty against St. John's.
Holding on the return, half the distance, first down.
So the Redmen start deep in their own territory. Post defense loves this kind of situation. Andy Ryan will start at quarterback. As we take a look at the offensive lineup, Anthony Russo, the big running back, 764 yards. The guy to watch is Anthony Iadivio, along with Jeff Long as pass receivers. They expect to throw a lot. Single setback, 4 wide receivers here, something we expected, Beasley. Ryan looking over the line of scrimmage. It was a transfer from Hofstra. They'll keep it on the ground. Russo tripped up in the backfield on a fine defensive play as he was tripped up by Ed Jones, the left outside linebacker.
Well, this is kind of a feeling out period. St. John's will see how they match up. They don't think that they'll match up very well, their offensive line versus the CW Post defensive line. We'll see how it goes as the next play progresses.
Ryan was a backup to the great one, Rory Moss at Hofstra last year, transferred. He was supposed to be the guy that was going to take over the job at the beginning of the season. Did not have a good training camp, and they're finally giving him a chance midway through the season.
Well, they're going to throw caution to the wind here. They're trying a new quarterback. They must win this game.
Second down and long yardage here. Robinson in the ball game as a fullback. And Ryan handing off. Russo behind a block from Robinson. Cracks across the 10 up to around the 13-yard line. It'll be shy of the first down. Ali Shama, number 97, and Troy Wilkes, number 99. Two outstanding members of that defensive front brought him down. So Anthony Russo getting a nice hold there. And Robinson, who didn't play last week, had a pinched nerve. They missed his blocking quite a bit. As we look at the defense of the CW Post Club, it's an outstanding defense. Swinson, Wilkes, and Buckner all 6'4". The linebackers led by Mondrone, and the secondary led by All-American Paul Engelhardt. 3rd and 5 for the Redmen. Russo the single setback. Lanahan flank to the left. Looking for Lanahan. Plenty of time, and Ryan will throw complete to Jeff Long, and Long has the first down as he dives to about the 19-yard line.
That was a critical play, and that's the reason that they put Ryan in. They went to a 4 wide receiver offense, a single setback, hoping that Ryan's maturity would allow him to make the right play at the right time. He certainly did it there.
Lenahan leaves coming out of the ball game as you look at Andy Ryan from St. Agnes High School, native of Oceanside. They hope that he would light a spark on this St. John's offense.
Back to the 4 wide receivers again with split backs.
Amalfitano and Iadivio were lined up to the right side. Amalfitano races off the field.
Now we got 3.
They would have had 12 out there. That would have been the 5th receiver. Ryan back to throw, running to his left. He's not a good runner, and he will be taken down. A very short pickup, if any, as he was brought down by Mike Hayes and number 97, Ali Shama, coming up with the stop. There's a look at Bob Ricca, former star here at CW Post in the late 60s.
Well, he's a little bit upset right now because his quarterback and his wide receiver misread the defense. They were looking for a quick out, but the cornerbacks rolled up into the flat. There should have been an adjustment, but there was not one.
3-yard loss, 2nd and 13. Ryan, this club likes to blitz. They have a lot of sacks, 29. They have a man going in motion right to left to right. Ryan rolling to the right, and he'll have to keep it in as he's snowed under at the 14-yard line. Ali Shama and Troy Wilkes, not only are they big, that defensive line, but they're pretty quick.
They are very quick and certainly moved into the right position that time. An interesting thing to watch, and one of the fun things about getting the best 2 teams in the conference together, they have got they've shown a pattern of scoring early. Both of these teams have. Post outscoring their opponents 46-7 in the first quarter, and St. John's outscoring their opponents 32-7 in the first quarter.
3rd and long yardage here. Passing situation. 4-man front. Ryan looks like he's calling an audible. High formation in the backfield. They'll hand to Russo. No hole. Penetration there, and he's snowed under. Mark Swinson, number 88. One of the men in there very quickly, and along with James Buckner, number 98. And it'll be the first punt of the ball game. And you look at the team's kicking game, big edge for CW Post over the St. John's kicking game.
No question about it. CW Post has probably one of the finest punters in Division III football, with Michael Mangello averaging almost 40 a point.
10 men at the line of scrimmage. They blocked 3 punts, as you mentioned earlier, Beasley, and this team is going to try for a block here.
Well, this is certainly the situation where you try to, man, would that open this thing up.
And they're coming. Iadivio just gets it away, squibs it upfield, and it'll be taken at the 38-yard line and run down the right sideline. It'll be a short pickup for Julio Teo as he carries to around the 31-32-yard line, brought down by Mike Robinson. And again, that post defense giving the offense excellent field position, which they've done all year. And speaking of that post offense right now, the key guy to watch is Dave Shanahan, along with Rob DeLillo. Dean Carino's done a good job, hasn't passed that much. And the wide receiver, Anthony Pergola, their leading receiver. Brett Curtis, a fine tight end. And the offensive line is huge, led by Big Bobby Smith. Now they line up in the I. Shanahan is the tailback, DeLillo the fullback. They give to the fullback, and DeLillo goes off the right side of the line, inside the 30 to around the 29-yard line as he is brought down. And it'll be a 2nd down play coming up for the Redmen as we look at the quarterback stats of Dean Carino, the sophomore from Northport. And he has completed over 52% of his passes, 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. That's a big change for CW Post. Down over the ball comes Peter Clark, number 60. He's 6'1", 235-pound sophomore. Offensive line hasn't been as good as it was last year. That's the one area. Everything else, Tom Marshall raves about this club is.
Well, he certainly has a good club, and they're certainly in great position here. I like the motion adjustments that they force the defense to make.
2nd and 6. DeLillo will pick up around 3 of those yards as he goes to the 25-yard line. Carl Volpe and Ray Lambright on the tackle. That St. John's defense, Mike Cunningham's done a good job at nose tackling that 3-man front. The key, as you mentioned earlier, the linebackers, O'Grady, Bider, Colangelo, and the freshman Volpe have done a good job. Secondary's been banged up the last few weeks. Nevin Mann back in action for the first time, but they're missing Johnny Del Rey, their best defensive back. Jason Villar also banged up, as we have now a 3rd and 3. Jimmy Byrne in the ballgame as a flanker. Here's the pitch to DeLillo, or rather to Shanahan, and St. John's with a big, huge defensive play. Scott Bider coming up with the play from that linebacker spot, shuts it down, and it'll be 4th down and long yardage here, a possible field goal attempt.
Spider, one of the leaders on that defense, certainly came up big there. And that was one of those emotional moments where you show the other team that even though you're supposed to be a little bit better, you played a better schedule, a tougher schedule, we're going to stop you today. And they've got an excellent opportunity here to get away really clean. Even if they only give up 3 points with a bad field position they started with, they still have to feel good about it.
44-yard attempt for Wayne Liebert's line drive kick, and it will sail way wide. So Liebert's, who had kicked some field goals earlier this year, 5 for 7, now 5 for 8, and St. John's defense comes up with that big third down play led by Scott Bider. And the Redmen get the ball back in better field position right here.
Well, the Redmen have come up very big on defense all season long, as has CW Post. Both teams right now being true to their normal patterns of play.
Well, the Liberty Conference standings show, of course, these Post Pioneers undefeated, and St. John's will be right behind them and battling for a playoff spot. And the Iona Gale is also in contention. So right now, let's see what the Redmen do as Andy Ryan looking for the near sideline, and he will be sacked. Ran out of time as he was taken down at the 25-yard line. Troy Wilkes, the guy you talked about earlier, coming up with his 10th sack of the year.
10th and a half, to be exact. That's an interesting stat, that half of a sack. I always did love that one. But just a clear, good, that's nothing but running over your opponent, reaching out and making the grab, and that's the sign of a big-time player.
6'4", 230 junior. And St. John's offensive line, we didn't mention it earlier, they've got 2 freshmen playing with injuries to key seniors. Anthony Capek is out. He's a fine player, along with another player, Bobby Dunlop. Pitch to Russo, nowhere to go, tries to turn upfield. But again, Troy Wilkes turning the play back in, and it'll set up a third down play.
Well, you got to figure at some point they'll decide not to go to that side. Troy Wilkes staying at home, out-muscling. He's a big guy, out-muscling the people trying to stop him. At some point, they're going to have to go to the other side.
And finally, Ali Shama and Anthony Mondrone, 97 and 56, and I'll finish and take the leftovers here. I'm
telling you, just good balance. Look at him leading on the outside. Puts his body in the perfect position, cutting the runner back into his teammates.
3rd and 13 for the Redmen out of the I formation. Power backfield. They'll go on the fake, and Russo, or rather Ryan, pulled down. Again, Troy Wilkes coming up with the tackle. Not only is he have 10.5 sacks, but he's the number 2 tackler on the team with 46 tackles to go along with those 10.5 sacks. And there's Andy Ryan heading off, and once again, Anthony Iadivio will be in to do the punting.
Well, they dodged one bullet. And the question is now, what type of field position will CW Post end up with after this punt?
Julio Teo, who averages about 9 yards a return, back to receive the kick, sending it around midfield. They come again, and he just gets it away. Line drive kick, taken at the 45-yard line. Teo stutter steps his way to the 45 of St. John's, where he's down. A 10-yard return, and he was brought down by Jason Villar. A 28-yard punt. He had a 24-yard punt the first time. Teo played for St. John's, by the way, back in 1988. So he's got a little extra incentive today.
When you talk about those short punts, I guarantee you when you see the punter, Mangello for CW Post stand up, you'll realize what type of swing it'll be when it comes to defensively from a punting standpoint, being able to pin your opponent back deep.
Derek Perez, number 15, came close to blocking that kick. So here we go now. Carino to throw for the first time. Out of the backfield, throwing complete to Shanahan. Down the right sideline, has the first down at around the 30-yard line. So Dave Shanahan, who not only can run, catches his 5th pass. He had caught only 4 coming into the game today for 28 yards. Picks up 15 on that play. Run down by Milt Gasparis, the cornerback.
Shanahan is a tough runner. He's built like down low to the ground. And when he puts that shoulder down, he really commands some attention.
Comes off his best running effort of the year last week, 135 yards against Iona, and a couple of touchdowns. He was Liberty Conference Offensive Player of the Week, and last year, what a sensational year. He had 7 times he went over 100 yards or more last season. He's had 2 200-yard-plus games, both coming last year, and a 235-yard effort last year against Pace University. Now delay here as a discussion going on. We're waiting resumption of play. There's Carino as we look at the Shanahan catch.
It's perfectly executed. The fake was sold. all by himself. Now watch him just turn, lean in with that shoulder, and man, you have to bring something to bring him to the ground.
Shanahan at 5'11", 200 pounds, has 4.6 speed, a real slashing type runner.
They throw the ball very well. Watching them in warm-ups, running the comeback patterns to the outside, which is a very difficult timing for a quarterback.
Nothing doing on the left side of the line. St. John shutting it down very quickly. Vince O'Grady, the left outside linebacker, who has been outstanding all year, the #2 tackler behind Scott Viter, coming up and making that initial hit and stopping the play at the line of scrimmage. So with 5:45 to go in a very fast-moving first quarter, the St. John's Redmen and CW Post Pioneers are scoreless. 2nd and 9 for Post inside the 30-yard line. Little movement on the St. John's line. Flag is thrown. The pitch to Pergola. Makes a nice move down the sideline. Run out and shoved out inside the 15 and around the 13-yard line. Scott Waite, the freshman quarterback, one of the men who ran him out, but a 17-yard gain for Anthony Pergola, who has really been coming on this season, coming to his own, the junior from Ronkonkoma here on Long Island.
Anthony's got 6 touchdowns already.
On defense, penalties decline. First down.
Well, just as you might expect, they would turn down that one and take this play. Just a beautiful play.
You heard the official, Carmine Picardo, and the rest of his fine crew, Frank Valenzano and the umpire, and we're ready to go right here on first down. Pioneers on the move here. Now DeLillo lines up as a wing to the right. Shanahan the single setback, and Carino fakes to him. In trouble, fumbles the football. Loose in St. John's. No, it's post recovery. Looked like Frank Pawlowski was going to come up with the ball, but fortunately, offensive lineman number 64, Durrell Pearsall, came up with the football for CW Post.
Pawlowski with just a super effort there, and it was an excellent fake. Look how he's hiding the ball. I thought it was going to fool everybody, but not Pawlowski. He pulls it out and just moves CW Post backwards, and just at the right time, about a 15-yard move in the negative direction.
Actually about 13, so it's 2nd down, and let's call it 23. Back to the 25 line. Carino with good protection. Now running out of time. Chase to the sideline. He'll run. He's a fine runner. 20, 15, 10, and he dives to the 5-yard line. It'll still be shy of the first down. We have to get around to 3, but he did what he did against Hofstra right there a few weeks ago when we televised that game.
Well, he's a good runner. We saw him really move the ball around well. He adds that third dimension, you know, the run, the handoff, and a guy that can break protection. Actually, very good coverage downfield. The secondary has to feel good about that. Good blocking by the offensive line, but once it collapsed, I'll tell you, that's one of the worst things that can happen when you've got a quarterback like Carino.
3rd and 2 as he picked up about 20 yards on that play. And now in the ballgame as they go to a power formation is Frank Quadraro, number 33, as a blocking back. Shanahan lined up in an I sort of formation, and now a whistle blows. We may have a delay of game here. Oh, tough call for CW Post, and they may have to change their play here.
Delay game on the offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
No clock on the field here for the players to look up at, so you've got to keep it in your head, so to speak.
Well, he was apparently the quarterback had no idea because he was casually setting up his men.
3rd and 7, so Quadraro comes out of the ball game. They'll go with another wide receiver here in this situation. And in the ball game right now is Anthony Pergola. He'll line up as a wide receiver. Jim Byrne also as a flanker. And DeLillo, a fine pass receiver, lines up as a wing. Shanahan directly behind the quarterback. Fake to Shanahan. Carino has blocking. Looking in the end zone. Still looking. He's going to run now and will be taken down at around the 7 or 6 yard line. Frank Pawlowski with another big 3rd down play.
Another super play, and his play caused by the play back in the secondary by the linebackers. Even though they saw Carino moving toward the line, they stayed back, never gave him an alley, and now they have an excellent opportunity looking at 4th down.
4th and 3, and they're going to go for Jim Byrne. They're going to go for the field goal. Wayne Lieberts will be on to do the kicking. The spot of the ball will be around the 14-yard line. This should be a 24-yard kick, certainly within his range.
They almost blocked the last kick.
Good snap. DeLillo with a good hold. It's blocked again by St. John's. as it goes to the sideline. It was Steve Neves, who has come up with so many outstanding plays all year. So CW Post, which likes to block opponents' kicks, has one of their own blocked right
and
here.
See, I'm surprised they didn't make the adjustment. If I saw Neves almost get it the last time, you would think that they would tell the guys. Just super timing. He came from around the corner. That's the most difficult point to block it from. Look at the layout. Look at the extension. Ball hits him in the elbows. It wasn't even close. It's not like it barely got his fingertips.
Neves has 6 interceptions. Came up big with 2 the other last week.
He's a great football player. I had a chance to speak to him a little bit in warm-up. Just a tough guy.
Russo on the handoff, tripped up as he falls forward. Tripped up once again by number 99, Troy Wilkes, picking up where he left off last week.
Well, Troy's tough. At some point, you got to start running to the left.
And there's the man of the hour for St. John's. Again, you've got to credit this defense, which has been outstanding. Post has had excellent field position on their first 2 possessions inside midfield.
Yet the defense has come up at the right time. Just a great job by the D.
Right now, 2nd and 9. They work out of the I formation. Robinson is in at the fullback, number 29. Russo, the tailback, 21. And Robinson gets the call. Check it Broadway off the left side of the line. And he is brought down after a short pickup. A couple of games to report on out of town. Colgate leading Fordham 7-0. That is in the 2nd quarter. Fordham unveiling its new field. Will be up there in a few weeks. Jack Coffey Stadium has been rebuilt. And Ithaca leading Buffalo State 7-0 in the 1st quarter. And scores from last night. Ramapo nearly beaten. Big shocker. Ramapo edging William Patterson 14-13. And Wagner upset by Glassboro State 31-14. 3rd and 4 for the Redmen with a minute 25 to go. Here they scoreless 1st quarter. Meyer looking like he was going to blitz. Ryan has time. Sideline pattern. Looking for Iadivio and batted away by John Stevens, number 23.
John Stevens in the perfect spot at the right time. Got a good hand on it. Iadivio, we've seen him make a lot of super plays. He's a very good receiver.
So the Redmen will punt for the 3rd time in this 1st quarter with a minute 17 left. Iadivio has punted twice for 26 yards. They try to snap the ball quickly. They come again and almost block that one. As Teo will take it at the 45 and will not get much good coverage on the return here as he picks up about 2. Brought down by several players, including Bobby Cade, number 8.
I don't know how many times you can ask the St. John defense to stand up to this type of pressure. They played the entire game on their side of the field. The offense hasn't been able to at least stretch a little bit to give them a little better field position. The defense has come up big 2 times. Whether or not they can do it 3 times against a very potent offense, an offense that normally outscores their opponents 46-7 in the 1st quarter.
Minute 7 to go. Carino with ball at the 43 on 1st down. A lot of protection. Throws complete to Jimmy Byrne for a 1st down inside the 30 and around the 27-yard line. Milt Gasparis on the coverage, but Carino with a well-thrown ball right on the numbers to Jimmy Byrne, the freshman out of Sachem High School, one of 7 players out of that high school that play significantly here, including Dave Shanahan and several others on this Post team.
Well, they keep going to the well there. You'll see patterns like that from CW Post all day long, breaking inside and then breaking outside toward the sideline, what they call their 6-spot.
Carino 3 for 3 for 47 yards. Shanahan behind DeLillo, cuts it upfield as the 1st down inside the 20 and around the 17-yard line. Brought down by Scott Waite. Well, when you have Rob DeLillo at 6 feet, 225 leading the way, he's an outstanding blocker as well as
nice, doesn't it?
A fine runner and a good receiver and a fine passer. He's thrown a couple of touchdown passes.
He's thrown a couple of touchdown passes. He's a guy you really have to watch. And see, they run the ball so well that they get the defense charging up to make the tackle. And he just lofts it over their head on the running back, the halfback pass, so to speak.
Jim Byrne now in as a wide receiver, flank to the left. 1st and 10 for the Post Pioneers with 34 seconds to go in the scoreless 1st quarter. Carino looking for Byrne, quick out, and not a good coverage by the Redmen as he's run out. Carl Volpe stayed his ground, the freshman linebacker in that flat. That was his coverage there, and he was right there to wrap him up. And then good pursuit by the rest of the Redmen.
Yeah, it was actually a bad move by the receiver. You never really go in there. When they swing the pass out to the sideline, you know that the pursuit angles are going to bring the entire Redmen defense in that direction. So you normally fake in there, and then you try to bounce it back outside.
And And the first quarter has come to an end. To 1, the Post Pioneers and the Redmen of St. John's are scoreless. We'll be right back.
It's not going to happen to me.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen to me.
I was really shocked when I found out I was infected. I didn't think anything like this could ever happen to me.
Points all season in the first quarter. Both teams have been outstanding defensively. We mentioned that earlier, but especially early in the game.
Very true. Both of these teams have only given up 7 points in the first quarter. They have just shut each other out. So that's what happens when you get the two best teams in the conference on the same football field.
2nd and 8, Dean Carino with the Post Pioneers having the football here. Will pitch it. Here's DeLillo off the left side of the line. Quick burst by DeLillo, close to the first down as he is down inside the 10-yard line, brought down by Scott Biter, the junior out of Comac. There is a flag. Nope. It appears to be enough for the first down.
Now take a look at this. It's a great luxury when you can toss to either one of your running backs. It's like being ambidextrous. They go left, they can go right, they can give it to, it doesn't matter. They give it to Shanahan, DeLillo. Both of those guys big, both run very tough.
DeLillo has carried 4 times for 26 yards. It is a goal-to-go situation here from the 9-yard line. Here's the pitch to DeLillo behind Shanahan and cut down by the Redmen. Fine defensive play. They had Durrell Pearsall pulling the left guard, and Scott Biter and Rich Colangelo combined to make the stop and brought him down.
St. John's has proven to be very stingy once they get in that area. They've come up with a couple of turnovers. They start to really string the play out from left to right when they get in what they call the red zone. So they may have to try to throw this ball to get into the end zone.
Frank Quaterero in the ball game now as a blocker. He goes in motion, and the handoff to DeLillo, cuts back, and look at that move for a touchdown.
He's there, nice cut. There was a beautiful hole there, about 6 feet in width. Just excellent decisions by Shanahan.
Dave Shanahan coming up with the touchdown run. That is his 5th touchdown of the year. And Shanahan, the senior out of Sachem High School, who set a school record in rushing last year, 1,166, headed for another 1,000 year. He was hurt last year and had carried the ball only once against St. John's in the game they played over at Redmen Field. Got hurt the previous week against Iona. Wayne Liebert's on to do the kicking. Rob DeLillo, who's thrown a couple of extra points with the hole. This one is up, and this one is good. So after having a couple of field goals go awry, he adds the extra point, and the Post Pioneers, with 1 minute and 18 seconds gone in the second quarter, take a 7-0 lead. There is Tom Marshall. Got to feel a little bit better about things right now. There he is, applauding his offense. And now you'll see why.
Well, the 3rd time knocking on the door is a charm. They've been down here 2 times before, couldn't get anything done. Super blocking by the lead running back, super blocking by the line, and perfect decisions by Shanahan.
We talked about Rob DeLillo. You saw the block by DeLillo, number 32. You'll watch it again on the replay here.
Very strong on the outside. He just lays his guy down. Shanahan bends it back. You know, that's the nice thing about running out of that formation. The running back has time to make his decision. He saw the opening on the inside, took it, touchdown.
Shanahan, a preseason All-American, Liberty Conference first-team All-Star from last year. Marty O'Brien to do the kicking for the Post Pioneers, standing back at the 35-yard line. As the Redmen have Amalfitano and Broadway back to receive the kick inside the 5.
You know, we'll get an idea what this offense can do this time. If they can make the catch here, get in some reasonable field position, and just try to see what they can get going in a normal setup and a normal starting spot. We'll find out what this St. John's offense can do against CW Post.
Not a deep kick. It'll come upfield. Amalfitano lets it bounce over his head. He has trouble handling the ball. In trouble here, but is pulled down. Boy, when you see all those green and gold shirts around you, you're in trouble. And he was able at least to hang on to the football, which is what St. John's wanted after the miscue on the attempt. Let's go down on the field, and right now, here is Matt Lachlan.
All right, Barry, thank you very much. We noted the injury problems to that offensive line for St. John's with Capek and Dunlop out. More changes in store. Nick Rosado, the offensive line coach, said that because of the youth, the inexperience up there, he's had to reinsert Joe Fitzgerald at right tackle and move Mike Edney back to his original position of left guard. Because of the pressure that Post is putting on, the youngsters just can't handle it, so he's had to make changes already.
And we'll see if the Pioneers, Matt, continue to put pressure on. He's got timeline for a moment, and then is hit hard as he was sacked right there, trying to get that pass off, as number 94 Mario Lopez came like a freight train, the big 6'3", 260-pound junior from Malvern. Well, that scoring drive, as you can see, 6 plays, 57 yards, and Shanahan with a 5-yard touchdown run. Liebert's adding the extra point, and just too much beef. Look at the size, the height. You got Lopez, who's 6'4". You've got the rest of those guys. Wilkes at 6'4", Swinson at 6'4", Buckner at 6'4". The only little guy is Shama, Ali Shama at 5'11", Beasley.
And Shama is playing sort of like Joe Green used to play, kind of a top lineup and right up the middle.
Russo, the nice cutback, picks up about 6 yards. It'll set up a 3rd down play, brought down by Mike Myers, number 51, the inside linebacker, who replaced Brian Harvey. Remember, Harvey got hurt against Hofstra. Post did a pretty good job in some ways in that Hofstra game, but big plays really burned him. I know they would love another chance. It's a long scenario if they would get another chance at Hofstra, possibly in a playoff game. 3rd and 5 right now for the Redmen. Power I formation. Ryan looks like he may be checking off here. Fumbles the football on the exchange. And it looks like the Redmen have recovered. It'll be another punting situation for St. John's. That's something they have done on every possession here in the first half. 12:40 to go in the first half, and St. John's trailing 7-0. Let's see if Post again will send 10 men to the line of scrimmage and try to come up with a block. They've come close on a couple occasions.
Well, when you're at this position on the field, you almost always go for it, especially when you're a coach and you've seen your team do it 3 times before. So they'll be coming.
And here they come. Oh, they get close to the kicker. He goes down. We're going to get a flag. Roughing or running into the kicker. Teo on a free play here. Won't matter what he does here. Will be taken down at the 47-yard line. And let's see what the officials will call here. But they were coming very aggressively. You saw 3 or 4 guys right around the ball. And it'll be a first down for St. John's. Roughing will be called on Brian Harvey, number 24.
Well, that's a part of the gamble. When you come after the kick so many times, you never know when something like that can happen. And also, a team gets a good feeling about blocking a kick.
Keep an eye on.
Come in here, try to find number 24. There he is. He puts his hand on the helmet, kind of pulls him a little bit, and that is the reason for the foul.
Referee Carmine Picardo. I'll tell you, though, Beasley, you'd rather have what Post is doing be an aggressive football team.
That's a 5-yard running into the kicker foul. Penalty is declined. First down for CW Post.
Well, it was only a 5-yard penalty. They needed more yardage for the first down. They didn't call it roughing. A roughing would have been 15 and would have been enough yardage for the first down. So St. John's will decline the penalty. And again, Post starting inside midfield down at the 47-yard line. And there's Tom Marshall, upset about something, perhaps, as he heads down the sideline. Oh, it's the chalkboard. He said, all right, guys, let's talk it over.
Let's work this
defense.
thing out.
Tom has taken over the defense this year. He and Herb Sonderricker handle the defense, and he's been very proud of the way the defense has responded. Shanahan. And again, excellent job by the St. John's Redmen. Rich Colangelo getting in the backfield very quickly. Scotty Bider was there, and no hole at all for Shanahan. A loss of 2 on the play.
Now this was full blocking by the offensive lineman. See the counter step to the right. He's going to come back. I wish you could see the line. There the lineman comes. See big man folding on the inside, but St. John's did not fall for it. Knifing inside and pushing him back.
Out of the I formation on 2nd and 12. Carino fakes the draw, rolling right, looking out of the backfield, complete to DeLillo at the 40 and run out. Shoved out by Steve Neves at around the 37-yard line, close to a first down. And let's see where they mark the ball. They mark his forward progress around the 37. They may bring the chains into measure. It's very close. And they are going to bring the chains. I'll tell you, that was some collision between Steve Neves over there and Rob DeLillo. A sound that brings a smile to your face, Beasley Reese.
The sound of Mike Rydell and 2-3 other helmet and shoulder pad makers meeting there. And you know what? That was a little bitty wide receiver. That was Anthony Pergola coming back on Biter, and just a very gutsy thing to do. A little bitty guy punching into a linebacker like that.
Now Pergola 5'8", 175.
But tough.
Scott Biter 6'1", 215. It'll be a first down for the Post Pioneers. Carino is 5 for 5 for 62 yards. Nothing deep, nothing fancy, but he has excellent receivers in Shanahan and DeLillo as backs. Pergola, good long-range threat, lines up wide to the left. Slot left formation.
Redmen don't want you.
DeLillo on a dive inside the 35 to around the 34, 33-yard line. Mike Cunningham, the nose tackle, brought him down along with Ray Lambright, number 79.
I mean, even though CW Post is much larger on the offensive line, St. John's has been able to knife underneath, good technique, knocking the big men down, allowing that very good linebacking core to come in and make the stops.
Pickenich and Pergola line up wide to the left. They look to that left side and out to Pergola. He gets a block from Pickenich and is down at around the 25-yard line. Jason Villar playing with that bruised shoulder, number 12 on the tackle.
See, that's a sign of a very good player. He knew exactly what he had to do to get the first down. So when he saw that moving laterally he was about to get stopped, he made an instant stop and just dove forward. Got the first.
Pergola came in their leading receiver, averaging 20 yards a catch, 6 touchdowns. Long of 54, a TD catch against Hofstra. First down. Nice play action fake. Carino looking for DeLillo, and he could not hang on. The ball might have been deflected by Neves, and as it popped in the air, there was DeLillo trying to make a basket catch, and he could not hang on.
Both receivers, the wide receiver and the running back, ran kind of half post corner routes. It had to be a perfect throw to get it in there, and I just don't think that the receiver thought, oh, good little block, great camera angle. Neves did get a finger on it to stop what would have been a nice completion and then a step out of bounds.
All right, now we're faced with a 2nd and 10 situation. Back split. And they'll hand off to Shanahan. Tries to find his own hole, but the Redmen wouldn't let him get away. Rich Colangelo, the senior from Monsignor Farrell High School at Staten Island, first team Liberty Conference All-Star last year, showed why as he wrapped his arms around the leg of the ball carrier and wouldn't let him get away. A loss on that play. And the St. John's defense continues to come up big. Post has had field position throughout this first half, and all they've done is put up 7 on the board.
Well, last week the St. John's offense couldn't get it done, and so finally an interception for a touchdown by the Redmen got some points on the board. They may have to make a play here.
Pergola with a fine catch going toward the end zone, and he's in. Anthony Pergola for 6 points as he comes up with his 7th touchdown of the year, a 26-yarder.
Perfect pass, perfect catch.
And Dean Carino near perfect. And there's a happy young man out of Sachem High School, that aforementioned school. A native of Ronkonkoma, an academic All-American, a transfer from the University of Maryland where he played baseball. He's got great hands, can catch in traffic. He's got 4.6 speeds, making Bob Rick unhappy right now.
Well, Bob Ricker's got some adjustments to make and some quick things to think out.
Lieberts for the kick. It's blocked by the Redmen. They can go for two. Blocked by Carl Volpe. Neves trying to pick it up, and he'll be tackled. It's still a loose ball, and now the whistle blows as the play is made. So Carl Volpe coming in, and I think Post's going to find out something about their kicking game here, that they had a field goal blocked, and they've had an extra point blocked, and a punt blocked before. So they better change things around a little bit.
Well, they've got, definitely they have to go to the drawing board and try to figure out what is happening here. You also have to just give a lot of credit to this St. John's defense. Even though they got stung there, they didn't give up. They blocked one, came in and blocked another one. Just great effort.
Carl Volpe with the block, and he almost came up with the football downfield. And we'll take a look at the touchdown right here. Beautiful pass, Dean Carino.
Just good. Look at the blocking. Look at the line work up front. He can just sit and look. A crossing pattern from the other side of the field. The free safety never saw him coming. It doesn't get any better than that.
So Dean Carino comes up with a touchdown pass, his 6th touchdown pass of the year. We mentioned he's only thrown 1 interception, so it's been a short-range passing game, and over the middle, open was Pergolda, and he has 7 for 8 for 97 yards today, Dean Carino.
And because he's such a great athlete, he really doesn't have to gamble. If it's not there, he takes off running.
Good point. Redmen down 13-0, and there's a happy Anthony Pergolda. And as we mentioned, a lot of these players came from Sachem High School out in that Ronkonkoma, Holbrook area on Long Island. And kind of interesting that defensively, St. John's has several players from that area as well. Amalfitano will take it at the 12. And won't get to the 20-yard line as he's brought down by number 8, Bobby Cade, the speedy freshman defensive back.
Well, there's no question about speed there, because he blasted in there like a bullet, made what was a big play because they had some things set up coming to the side.
Sean Sharkey will come in at quarterback as the scoring drive. You see 7 plays, 53 yards. And Pergolda, 26-yard touchdown pass from Carino. So here's a look at Sean Sharkey, the freshman who have not seen so far this year. We saw Sean Bannon the previous 2 weeks. 6'2", an 80-pounder from Valley Stream Central High School here in the island. Good runner. They'll run a lot of option stuff with him. And St. John's looking to get on track here, trailing 13-0. Sharkey on the run, throwing incomplete, intended for Jeff Long. Sharkey became an instant hero in the very first game of the season against Iona. Bannon wasn't moving. The club came in, and on the very first play from scrimmage with him at quarterback, threw a 71-yard touchdown pass to Anthony Iadivio, and St. John's went on to upset Iona, the preseason favorite to win this Liberty Conference title.
Nice thing about Sharkey is he is a fantastic athlete, extremely versatile. You will see him running. You will see him rolling out and passing as he just tried to do. You will also see the option play with him trying to pitch it out to Anthony Russo. So they're trying to mix it up, get something going. Sharkey, the attempt number 2. Sharkey is plan B. Let's see how that works.
He's a fine runner, has run the ball well this year. They'll try to keep it on the ground here for Russo. But again, those green shirts swarming all over. And he is taken down for perhaps a loss. Marty McNamara, number 47, and Danny Vito, number 25. A couple of the second-string linebackers getting in there right now and getting some playing time on the tackle. There's Sean Bannon, who we saw the last couple of weeks. Get a look at Sean if they're unable to move the football. 3rd and 10 for Sharkey. He's a raw athlete, adequate arm. Has problems seeing the whole field sometimes. Locks it on one receiver. Throwing for Iadivio. There's contact, and a flag will be thrown. And we'll have a penalty, I believe, coming up on John Stevens, a pass interference call.
John's timing was way off. Jumped at the wrong time. He just lost his composure just a little bit. No question about that one.
So pass interference the call. It'll be a first down for the Redmen. Update on our Sports Channel out-of-town scoreboard. Colgate now leading Fordham 14-0.
Pass interference by the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
No question about this one. Just bad timing on the jump, bad position by the defensive back. Kind of bumps into him.
Sharkey with a first down up and around the 35. Best field position they've had. Quick pass and open is Jeff Long. Long will take it to the 45-yard line as he's brought down by Bobby Cade. And it is a 20-yard reception. Sharkey to Long. And St. John's crosses midfield for the first time down at the 45.
Jeff Long is not the guy you want to get rolling. He's got 6 touchdowns already. Just a super athlete, a big target. He can jump. He's got nerve. He catches it over the middle very well. Good play there. That is exactly what they needed to get them a little excited. Get the sideline and that adrenaline pumping just a little bit.
Long has caught 2 passes for 23 yards. Their leading receiver on the year. 19 to go. First half, St. John's 13-0. Sharkey in trouble, escapes, chased by Mark Swinson. He'll keep the ball and dives out of bounds as he got away from Anthony Mondrone, the quick linebacker. Ali Shama ran him to the sideline and ran him out, stopping the clock with 8:08 to go in this first half.
Now that was a good decision. Right-handed quarterback in trouble to his left. No time to stop, set, get your shoulder around and throw. He just tucked it under and jumped out of bounds. Good choice.
Redmen in post territory for the first time in this ball game. Sharkey, big boy, 6'2", has trouble with the snap. Now throwing, he's got a man out there in traffic. Amalfitano Cade knocked the ball away. There was heavy traffic on the play there. John Stevens was also defending on the play. And pressure from Mark Swinson. Almost got him. However, there's an injured player down on the field. One of the post players, and you see referee Carmine Picardo indicating timeout.
And see, the problem there is, number one, this should have been a ball that was intercepted. The quarterback a little bit rattled because he didn't get the handoff cleanly. Throws it basically up for grab. You see 3 athletes go up for it. A little bit of a collision there. And an injured man.
John Stevens is the injured player, the sophomore cornerback who's played very well, a very intelligent player, and on an academic scholarship here, a transfer from Butler University.
Well, he's up and okay, so obviously it was just a question of getting the wind knocked out of him when he fell, because he's walking good. That's what you want to see, of course. Jumps up, moves on his own power.
3rd and 8, and he's replaced in the lineup right now. And replacing him is Terrence McGowan, number 5. 3rd and 8 for the Redmen. 4-man defensive front. No blitz showing. Long count by Sharkey. Fakes on the keeper. He's into the secondary. Sharkey has the first down at the 24-yard line. We told you his running was his best forte, and he picks up a beautiful run.
Well, that's why they like him. He's like having a running back at quarterback. He's like having a rollout passer, a deep thrower, a timing pattern guy, touch. He's got it all. They just say he's a little bit raw. He needs some experience and needs some practice.
John Stevens now back in at cornerback. As you look at Sean Sharkey, probably is the best athlete of all 3 of the quarterbacks in terms of raw ability. They've been trying to get on the board here with 7.5 minutes to go in the first half. They trail 13-0. Sharkey to the sideline to Long. Perfectly thrown pass. Hit hard by Mondrone, driven out of bounds. But they do pick up yardage, about 7 on the play.
Long is a big kid. He's good, 6'2", good body structure, very soft hands, and a lot of nerve. Now, this is one of those, not quite a timing pattern, but it has to be executed very well. 3-step drop coming right at the camera. Take a look at that work.
Looks like he was throwing to our cameraman right there on the side. Iadivio lines up as a flanker to the right there. You see Jeff Long to the left. Split backfield on 2nd and 2, so they picked up 8 on that last play. Now it looks like they're showing blitz. Here's Russo. Looks like an option pass. Nobody open. Hit as he throws, and that was a bad decision to throw the ball. Bobby Cade should have had the interception. He and John Stevens were almost wrestling each other for the 11th interception of the year for the Post Pioneer.
Well, you know, I would have to talk to Russo about the way he sold the halfback pass. He took the ball and leaned over, and it was obvious that he wasn't going to run. And as a result, the defensive back stayed back. Nothing really there. It's a smart thing for him to just heave-ho and throw it out of the back of the end zone. Smart move by Russo there.
3rd and 2. This is the 10th play of the drive. Troy Wilkes was putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, Sharkey. Wilkes putting pressure on now, but Sharkey throws as Wilkes takes him down, incomplete. Ali Shama also putting some pressure on, but he felt the heat a little bit and underthrew that one.
Well, he had something there, not much, but just not enough time. They have to be impressed by this drive.
And the Redmen will call timeout right here to talk it over. Key play in this ball game.
Big situation in the ball game. They get a first down here. They punch it in. You're talking 13-7. They've got to feel very good about the way they've competed, especially defensively, and now they've got something working offensively. It's a big, this is probably the biggest 2-3 yards of the season. And I really don't think that I'm overstating it when I say biggest 3 yards of the season.
Well, as far as these teams are concerned, St. John's 5-1, post 5-1. You see the Redmen with the win over Iona, and they went right through Siena, Stony Brook, Curry, Pace. You saw that on Sports Channel. The loss to Kings Point. Post Pioneers, big wins over Kings Point, Hofstra, blew out Pace, blew out Stony Brook. Tough time with Iona early, and then won 32-14, and right now leading 13-0 as they try to go 6-1. They stay very much in contention for a postseason berth. And on 4th and 2 with a very poor kicking game, they are definitely going for it here.
Well, yeah, like I said, this is the biggest 2 yards and probably the biggest play of the season.
Sharkey on the option. Oh, he was hit as he optioned it off. Russo taken down. Boy, was he ever hit. Number 99, Troy Wilkes, who was assigned to Sharkey, hit him, and a bad decision on the part of the quarterback right there to make that kind of a toss.
The play was there. I think it was a super call. Indecision by the quarterback. He didn't stick it up, and he didn't pitch it. Take a look. Nice fake on it. Now, right now, you got to take it or you got to pitch it. He was 1 millimeter of a second off on his decision. He never gave one of the best running backs in Division III football an opportunity to get 2 yards.
Well put, Beasley. 6:27 to go, first half. Pioneers leading 13-0. Take over 1st and 10. And Carino on the draw play. And it'll be about a 6-yard pickup. Shanahan slashing to around the 26-yard line, where he's brought down. Shanahan with a touchdown run already. Rich Colangelo on the tackle. They're going to call it a 4-yard gain, make it 2nd and 6. As you look at the sophomore quarterback from Northport on Long Island, Dean Carino's done a fine job today. Hand off to DeLillo. He won't get much. Picked up around 2 or 3, setting up a 3rd and 5 play. Scott Biter on the tackle along with Vince O'Grady. Haven't mentioned O'Grady as much as we've had in the past. He's always a guy around the football.
Very true. I'll have to key in on his matchup and see who's holding him down a little bit. If you like offensive line plays, City Post has a good one. And you should really key on that. They're using some very complicated blocking schemes, fold blocking, misdirection blocking. Very interesting.
Carino, quick pass batted by Ray Lambright, incomplete. That'll set up a 3rd down play. Actually a 4th down play. That'll be the first punt of the ball game for the Pioneers, and one of the best punters in the country, Mike Manzella.
You'll like this. He averages 39.6.
Not particularly a great punt. It'll bounce, and Frazetta will watch the ball die inside the 30 around the 28-yard line. So no return, which is the key.
That is the key. Now that was an ugly punt, but he hit some in practice and warming up that made it very clear. That was a 43-yarder. Now it was a cheap 43 yards. I'll admit that. But he can really boom them. It looks like somebody is throwing the ball. Such a perfect spiral, some of the kicks he was making during warm-ups.
Your old buddy Dave Jennings would have taken it.
Yeah, well, Dave will take him.
Anyway.
Let him roll, boy. Dave and I used to hook up on some of those punts. I was his guy that would run down and try to down him. Super puncher.
You run under him when he kicked him?
I actually caught a couple. He could kick them high and long, and I'd go down and actually catch them like I was on the other team.
Let's see if the Redmen can get on track here, trailing 13-0. Sharkey handing off and nothing doing as the first man through carried the football. Ali Shama stopping Mike Robinson on the carry. Robinson, the senior out of Baldwin on Long Island, who had a pinched neck. Now Sharkey gets the play called from the sideline. As you look at the St. John's bench, part of the defense, which has done a real fine job today.
They certainly have. They have nothing to be ashamed of. The offense has got to get something in the end zone. That big 4th and 2 bad decision. They got to get another drive like that going.
Looking for the sideline. 2 men covering over there as he tried to go to Anthony Iadivio, and he throws it out of bounds, stopping the clock. John Stevens on the coverage along with Anthony Mondrone, the linebacker.
They are getting into the backfield and interrupting things very quickly for Sharkey. Take a look at this. A nice push, nice slam, forcing on the inside, and look where he lands. But just as Sharkey lets it go, Ali Shama is falling at his knees. That's very unnerving for a quarterback.
He's having a great year, Shama. Physically intense player, not that big at 5'11", 220. Sharkey to throw on 3rd down, in trouble, running for his life. Throwing on the sideline. Oh, Jeff Long had it at the 46-yard line, and it bounced away.
Well, that was a big play by number 15. Just a super hand at just the right time. Derek Perez. Now, Derek is a big play guy. He's blocked 1 punt this year. Knocks down a key pass right there, just as the offense seemed to get rolling a little bit. Big drive the last time down. Just a good play by Perez.
Iadivio to attempt to punt. 4 kicks, 29-yard average. Good snap. And he drives this one down, sails it to Teo at the 42. Teo will pick up 7 or 8 yards as he gets to midfield. And he's brought down, so with about 4 minutes to go in the first half, Post leading 13-0. And they'll get the ball again in superb field position.
They have had the preferred lie all along. Took advantage of it 2 times, and about 3 times they let it get away. But so far, the St. John's defense, you can't say enough about them to be put in some of the situations in which they have been placed in to come up the way they've come up. And that's pretty big.
Out of the I formation. Pergola to the right. Shanahan. No hole as he just could dive at the line of scrimmage. In the middle of that line, Mike Cunningham, the nose tackle, and the inside linebackers just shut it down, along with Frank Pawlowski, who's having his best game that we've seen him play.
What I like about Pawlowski is that he's not trying to take these big, huge guys on straight up. He's hitting them quickly and then dropping, forcing a pile, and that opens it up. And you know, St. John's is clearing Colangelo and Biter, you know, some of the best players on their team. They're clearing them by knocking down the line. Good job.
Have shut down Dave Shanahan. 5 carries, 9 yards. Wide open with the catches. Pergola for the first down at the 38-yard line. Rich Colangelo on the stop, but Pergola working his way open, wide open for the 2nd time.
Well,
in this
that
game.
time the fake really drew Colangelo and Biter up, and they were supposed to be back in that hole in a zone principle. See the linebackers moving up. Now they see pass. You see 56 turning, can't get back there in time. Look at Biter, can't get back in time to get underneath that throw. As a result, the quarterback able to keep it low, which gets the ball there quickly. You got the reception.
Pergola's caught 4 passes for 66 yards and a touchdown. Deep drop by Carino. They'll screen it out. This is McDonald, 40. And McDonald still on his feet at around the 28-yard line. Mike McDonald, the senior out of Mineola, who some people feel may be the best running back on the entire team.
Well, I saw maybe 2 steps. There was like a flash, a 2-step flash of greatness there. He's got some speed. He made like about 3 steps there that showed some explosion. Super play by the offense. Well set up by the quarterback as he drew the lineman in, dropped it off for the screen.
McDonald, a transfer from Nassau Community College, was hurt a lot last year. He's got 4.5 speed. Cuts, spins, maybe the fastest of all the running backs. He's an east-west kind of guy, while Shanahan, DeLillo, those north-south type kids. First down for the Pioneers with 2:24 to go in the half. Oh, collision with McDonald. And McDonald stopped behind the line of scrimmage by Scott Biter.
Counter play back to the right side. Took a step to the left. Tried to come around, ran into Carino. No telling, no way to know who messed that thing up, but that's not something you want to see. Take a look. See? Oops. So, I got to think that's the running back's angle, just looking at the running play, because the quarterback in a counter play normally just pivots. He just spins in one location, and Carino did that.
Tom Marshall has removed McDonald from the lineup. Shanahan back in at tailback. He'll get his call. And out of bounds. Oh, they say he did not get out. At the 25-yard line, Nevin Mann on the tackle. Clock continues to tick with 1:35 to go.
You can do this all day long. You'd have a pretty successful little outing. After the pitch, works his way up. Reasonable gain.
3rd and 7. Clock ticking, 1:15 to go first half. Post leading by 13-0 score. Blitz coming. Carino has it picked up, and the pass is going to be complete to tight end Jack Jenkins. He's still in bounds. It'll be shy of the first on very short gain to the 22. Carl Volpe, the outside linebacker, on the coverage, and the Pioneers will call timeout and stop the clock with 58 seconds to go in this first half. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Matt Lachlan with a special piece on Gary Wishard, done by our colleague Carl Reuter, who's away this week. Gary Wishard, the big prominent agent, sports agent for many athletes, was a star quarterback under Dom Neely here for the Post Pioneers in the late 60s, early 70s. The year they went to the Boardwalk Bowl down in Atlantic City. Gary had a brief tryout with the pro team. And John Lavellis, the outstanding defensive end who was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, will be a guest coming up at halftime. John did not make the Vikings one of their last cuts. He's here live, and Matt will be chatting with him, and we'll update the out-of-town scoreboard and look at our Metro College football poll for this week. So a lot coming up at halftime.
Get one here. Get one
Carino
here.
having a real fine first half. 10 for 12. Beasley, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And he's thrown to 6 different receivers so far.
Well, that's what you call sharing the wealth and really looking around and keeping a defense off balance. He's a super athlete. It's fun to watch him play. And, it's fun when the quarterback has that added dimension also. This guy hides the ball well, good play action fakes, and also runs extremely well.
Let's see what's in the post bag here. 4th and 5. Pickenich goes out wide to the top of your picture. Ergola at the bottom. There's a flank. DeLillo and Shanahan, the running backs. Carino with time, running out of time, using his running ability to escape, throwing for the sideline, and it's knocked down by the Redmen. An excellent defensive play. Jamie Borg, number 22, who had been injured and was not expected to play much with a big defensive play. However, there is a flag in the backfield.
Now, the problem here for St. John's is the mobility of Carino. When he finally spots a man who is wide open, when he lets it go, the ball has to travel too
hands
far,
on the
and he's not
offense.
open
Penalties
anymore.
decline. First down.
I tell you, that should have been intercepted. It's a very difficult throw. I've only seen one man in all of football do that and do it with any amount of success, and that's John Elway. And Carino's good. He's got some power, but he doesn't have the shoulder that Elway has. That's a long throw across the field. But you gotta say, number one, he has the athletic ability to get the pass off, to have the opportunity to complete it.
48 seconds to go. Let's see if St. John's just runs the clock out here, if they'll try to make a big play. Russo will try it on his own. In trouble, spins and gets a couple of yards where nothing was there. Picked up about 3 yards on a play that could have been a loss, but using that cutting, darting ability just to go forward.
He certainly got a lot of talent. That's not... I think I'd be looking at slinging it downfield and trying to get a pass interference or a lucky bounce. See if I can get a cheap one.
Post has run 3 interceptions back for touchdowns so far this year. They've been a big play defense, as you alluded to earlier. A taste of your own medicine right there.
I wouldn't do that, though. I wouldn't hand it off in the line.
Short run that time by Mike Robinson. 5 seconds to go. James Buckner on the tackle. Will they get another playoff? No. So the first half has apparently come to an end. The Post Pioneers with a touchdown pass from Dean Carino and a touchdown run from Dave Shanahan take a 13-0 lead into the locker room, as that St. John's defense played very tough. They had poor field position throughout the half and just yielded those 2 touchdowns.
Well, the Redmen still have to feel pretty good. I mean, this thing could be 28-0. It honestly could. If CW Post had taken advantage of 75% of their opportunities, we'd be looking at 21-0 right now. So the opportunity exists for the Redmen to come back, make some adjustments, and get something going. So that's probably the reason that Coach Ricker decided to take it easy, be very conservative on the last couple of plays, because what he wants to do is get in there without some serious accident like another touchdown. So probably a good decision on his part.
All right, and standing by with Coach Ricker, let's go down to the sidelines, and here's our Matt Laughlin.
Thank you, Barry. Coach, first half, your team had some dangerous opportunities in terms of Post putting the ball in the end zone, yet you're only down 13-0.
Field position. The opening kickoff, we had that 15-yard penalty. The second kickoff, the ball bounced over our head, so we put ourselves in terrible field position. Defense came up big, put them out of the end zone, blocked the field goal, things like that. So, and obviously now we have to get some offense generated. Sharkey came in and did some things for us, so we go to the board at halftime. He's a more mobile quarterback than Ryan, and that has helped the offense. How about this young team, though? How do you feel they've responded so far? Well, it's a challenge, and it's still 30 minutes to go, so we'll come back again. What might we see from the Redmen in the second half? Well, hopefully we'll continue to play the tough defense, and we'll get the ball in the end zone. Anything particularly going to change? Well, we'll take a look now when we go inside. All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Bob Ricker going in to talk to his young club. The third quarter has generally belonged to St. John's all year long. They'll need to do that again today if they're to get back into this ball game. We're going to take a short break here. We'll come back, and during our halftime, we'll have highlights, a look at statistics, an interview with former CW Post great John Lavellis, and Carl Reuter will have an interview with Gary Wishard. Stay with us.
Hofstra University's outstanding
Post club that finished 8-3 and advanced to the Boardwalk Bowl. He's a member of CW Post's Hall of Fame. In fact, he still holds 2 quarterback records. He has moved on and has made his mark outside of football. Well, in some way it is related. He is now an agent representing athletes, trying to get the best deal for them that he can. Earlier this week, Sports Channel's Carl Reuter spoke with the former Post great.
Gary, can you recall your days at CW Post, star quarterback?
I fondly remember those days. It's actually, it's where I met my wife. And those were back in the late 60s when football wasn't the biggest thing on students' minds over there. That was special.
When you go into a
Now representing is a former CW Post great himself, John Lavellis, a man who last year was an All-Liberty Conference performer, 17 sacks. John, drafted by the Minnesota Vikings in last spring's draft. John, you made it to the next to last cut. How was that step up?
Well, it was quite a step up. In fact, a little bit too much of a step up so soon. Coming from smaller schools like Delaware and CW Post last year, was quite an adjustment in making to the professional level. And I feel that with some time I can make the adjustment, but 4 weeks in a camp for the first time playing a new position was a difficult jump.
Last year, 17 sacks for you, among the leading tacklers on this team. How is it different for you now that you're on the sideline as a coach as opposed to a player? What differences have you noticed?
It's a whole lot of difference. I want to get some pads and go out there sometimes, most of the time. It's a totally different ball game. You know, I come down here and I'm 10 minutes early for a game. I'm like, oh, God, I got to get dressed and go out there and play. But it's just, I'm having a lot of fun, though, coaching. I really enjoy working with the guys, and we've come on a lot since I've been coaching, and I'm pretty happy with the way things are going.
How
This quality Craftmatic Model 2 adjustable bed costs 50% less than this quality nationally advertised brand name flatbed. 50% less. That's right. For 50% less, you can enjoy the comfort, luxury, and convenience an adjustable bed brings to your bedroom. Read in bed, watch TV in bed, relax and elevate your head, back, and feet. Plus, get the best night's sleep of your life, and do it for 50% less than the cost of this quality flatbed. Call toll-free now to get the facts free by mail about Craftmatic's Model 2 bed that adjusts electrically at the touch of a button, supports your entire body effortlessly in any position, yet costs 50% less than this flatbed. Don't buy any bed until you get our free catalog by mail. Call for it now. There's absolutely no obligation.
CW Post on top at halftime, and we were talking before we come back to Hickoxville during the break, Beasley, and we were saying it's a case of defense for both teams, but just not enough offense at this point for St. John's.
St. John's is trying everything in the book. I mean, they've changed quarterbacks. They've taken a look at just a kind of a run-and-shoot offense. They are looking for something that this team can believe in, something that they feel like will produce some type of a ground gain or something in the air. So far, it's just it's a searching process, and that's probably what the coaches are talking about right now.
I would think with a young team, though, you don't know what you're going to get with an adjustment. You don't know how they'll respond. So there's some hope there for St. John's. Within an experienced club, maybe you think that perhaps they've given up, but a young team won't do that.
No, they won't do that. They know that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Of course, St. John's would need some help, even if they were to be able to win here today in order to get that back-to-back Liberty Conference title. But they need to win here. I'm sure that they're making some type of adjustments. The big problem is that the defensive line for CW Post has been just so dominant that it's interrupting, and the penetration that they're getting on St. John's is throwing everything that they try to do offensively just in the bag.
Beasley, let's take a look at halftime statistics, and sometimes they don't tell the story, those numbers, but in this case, it looks like the dominance is there for Post.
Well, it's definitely there, especially if you take a look at what's happening on first down. Post is twice as good. The passing numbers are overwhelmingly stacked on the side of CW Post, as are the total yards. Now, the good thing is no turnovers, and then you have to talk about the job that Carino has done also. He has thrown the ball to several different receivers. He has run the ball very well and been in total control of this football game.
One interesting note is that Post has been penalized just twice, and in the past that has hurt them. They've almost been too aggressive.
They really have been very aggressive, especially when you talk about the block punt attempt. That gave St. John's an opportunity that they were not able to capitalize on. But yeah, I would rather take an overly aggressive team. I'd rather see a team make their mistakes going 100% full speed than to have the other way around.
Let's take a look at the two scoring plays in this game, and Post breaks out on top, and a familiar name does the scoring.
Well, this guy has done it all year long. He has done it the last 2 years straight. Nice little read here. The nice thing about the I formation, he has time to find the hole, makes the cut back on the inside, then a little power run. Shanahan with the touchdown.
And Post goes to the air for its second touchdown. And you mentioned the job that Carino's been doing.
Watching this team in warm-ups, Carino was extremely sharp. His receivers were very comfortable in their pattern, soft hands. You see it right there from the other side of the field. Pergola comes under this ball and takes it in for the touchdown. That's touchdown number 7 for that young athlete.
Quickly, Beasley, adjustments that must be made.
Well, I think for St. John, they simply have to keep playing good defense. They have to figure out a way to get something going offensively. The problem is that CW Post is a third-quarter team. They have, by an overwhelming margin, outscored their opponents in the third quarter. So they have to come out and stop that tendency and come up with something on offense, St. John's.
All right, we'll see what happens as we begin the third quarter in just a moment. We'll be back to CW Post right after this.
Be back in action next week against SUNY Albany. Number 2 Ramapo, a winner last night over William Patterson. Number 3 Cortland State playing this afternoon at home against Springfield. 4th-rated Ithaca at home against Buffalo State. You're watching number 5 playing number 10. Union is entertaining Coast Guard today. Wagner beaten last night by Glassboro State, and Trenton State playing later start hosting Jersey City State. Our Sports Channel Player of the Week is CW Post linebacker Troy Wilkes. The junior from Westmoreland, New Hampshire, led the defense with 9 solo tackles, 7 behind the line of scrimmage, and 2 sacks as the Pioneers came from behind to beat Iona last week, 32-14. Honorable mention goes to Kings Point linebacker Ed McErleen. Congratulations to both those fine young men. Well, a lot of scores around the East, especially in Division III football. Let's get to our scoreboard. Last night, Ramapo knocked off William Patterson 14-13. Ramapo getting 2 touchdowns runs and 109 yards from quarterback James Grant. Really should have lost the game according to reports. Lucky to win it. Glassboro State rolled over Wagner 31-14, and a big win for Glassboro State. In that one, quarterback Ed Hessen passed for 3 touchdowns, 221 yards. It was Cortland at halftime leading Springfield 14-7. Buffalo State trailing Ithaca 14-13. That's in the second quarter. And Union 7, Coast Guard nothing at the half. 4 o'clock start, Trenton State, Jersey City State. Western Connecticut surprising Kings Point at the half 6-3. Wes Stearns not playing. He's got a bad ankle. And Iona leading pace 14-10 second quarter. Stony Brook and Stonehill later start. And Colgate leading Fordham 21-3 at halftime. Here we're ready for the second half kickoff. St. John's kicking off. And the ball will be taken at around the 20-yard line. And it'll be taken downfield by Dom Leone. Leone crosses the 35 up to around the 37-38-yard line and brought down by Mike Robinson. And also on the play was Pat Costello. So once again, CW Post, as they did throughout the first half, Beasley starting in excellent field position.
Well, that's the sign of a good football team when you can, the number one objective in football is to control the field position. If you do that, the scoring opportunities will take care of themselves, and CW Post has done that all afternoon long.
So Post takes over 1st and 10. Carino on first down. In trouble, rolling to his right. Flag is thrown, chased by Pawlowski. Throws complete to Shanahan out of the backfield to the 35-yard line. However, there was a flag in the backfield. Now we'll wait for the call by referee Carmine Picardo. Holding. Holding is indicated against Post. The preliminary indication.
See, once again, that's the impressive thing about Carino. He had all the time in the world. When he couldn't find anything, he readjusted the pocket. His mobility, his speed, allowed him to move the pocket to a new position. Now, the bad thing about that is that the offensive lineman never knows where he's going, and every now and then you'll get a holding call.
There's like 5 people on the board.
And they'll walk it off, so that will negate the short
holding
pickup.
On the offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
So it'll be 1st and 20. Dean Carino coming off a very good first half, 10 for 13.
Now take a look at Carino here, just good presence of mind to move out to the left. You see 53 reaching out and making a little pull. Glenn Crowley there.
So first and 20 for the Pioneers. Here's Shanahan off the pitch, turning it upfield. He's into the secondary, beats Jason Villar and is pulled down after crossing midfield to the 47-yard line. Ray Lambright chased him all the way downfield, and the big freshman tackle finally made the stop, but not before he picked up 26 yards on the play.
I see that's the sign of the good running backs. Nothing spectacular there, just very subtle movements that force the defenders to just whiff. You wonder how in the world by the end of the day this guy has done this. Now take a look at it. You're not going to see anything just overly impressive. Nice little stutter, kind of stumble like a little shove. Look at the balance there as he turns. Look at the subtle move on the inside. Good balance, good game.
26-yard pickup. Shanahan been held at 21 yards on 10 carries in that first half. Now flags fly all over the field. It was a relatively penalty-free first half, as you and Matt alluded to at halftime, Bees, and very early here we're getting a couple of penalties against CW Post. Something that has been a problem.
False start on the offense.
In the
5-yard penalty. Repeat.
So it'll be 1st and 15 as the ball moved back to the 49-yard line of Post.
1st and 15, a very comfortable situation for a defense. They can sit back in a nice, safe zone and attack, react to whatever is happening as opposed to worrying about making quick movements.
Shanahan off the pitch, turns it back the other way, and has a nice gain. Picked up about 8 or 9 yards on the play. Carl Volpe finally brought him down. But again, the good vision of the running back.
I tell you, that was a beautiful cut back away from the green, and just an excellent decision there. Take a look at this, the great angle, a pitch to the left that ends up being a run almost to the right. It takes balance. Now right there you are looking at, there's only one word I can use, that word is surge. Great surge by the runner.
9-yard pickup on that last play, 2nd and 6. Carino with time, looking and throwing complete. It'll be enough for the first down at around the 32-yard line. Nevin Mann on the coverage, Jim Byrne on the catch, and a fine thrown ball, and you can't intercept that one. Byrne was down on his knees and just caught it.
I see that's the perfect place, especially when you are throwing the ball over the inside. It's very dangerous in there. If you can keep the ball down low so your receiver can protect himself, he'll have more confidence in using the quarterback. Good pass there.
3rd catch for the freshman Jim Byrne, who had caught only 3 coming into the ball game. Good fake. Carino looking deep for Pergola. He's out there. Stumbles just down at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal to go. Coverage by Jamie Borg, but Pergola coming up with his 5th catch of the day, a 32-yard reception.
And that a post corner route, it's a very difficult pattern to run because you have to sell the post part of it. He sold it and then broke outside. It's also a very difficult pattern to throw. We see good protection for Carino. And he's into the corner part of the post corner right now. He has already sold the post, gotten the defender to move in there, almost scrambles his way in for a touchdown.
Carino 12 for 15 for 166 yards. Power formation on the goal to go. Shanahan dives to the goal line, shoved back, did not get in. Frank Quattararo had come in as a 3rd running back, a blocking back on the play. And Rich Colangelo stuffing the play.
Colangelo playing catch there, catching a human, kind of a, Shanahan goes up in the air, Colangelo catches him and bends him back on the inside.
12:15 to go, 3rd quarter. Post knocking on the door again, leading 13-0 on a goal to go, 2nd down. They send a man in motion, Quattararo, and this time it's DeLillo looking for the end zone, and he's in. Rob DeLillo with a touchdown run, and his 7th touchdown run of the year, and the Pioneers lead it 19-0.
Ambidextrous offense once again. They're able to pitch it to Kalilo, pitch it to Shanahan. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Both of those guys run like halfbacks, even though DeLillo is 225 pounds worth of man.
How'd you like to have your fullback faster than your tailback? And DeLillo's a little bit faster than Shanahan.
Isn't that something? That's what makes this team ambidextrous in nature.
And they're going to go for two right here. So Carino with his club leading 19-0. Going for the two-point conversion. Here's the pitch. And DeLillo looking for the end zone, and he's in. That is the 5th two-point conversion that Rob DeLillo has been involved in this year.
And see, that is so important. It is near critical when you're talking about, you know, usually at this level you don't have the guys that can split that up right every time from anywhere. And man, when you can come up with a guy that'll put it in for 2-5 times. Now take a look at that. This is the touchdown, not the extra point. As he powers his way to the right side, all that 225 pounds and all that speed, you get all of that working together, and it's tough to stop. Now here's a two-point conversion, just like a flip-flop of the same play. Now watch this as he powers through a group of people, forcing his way in for the touchdown.
And a happy young man, Rob DeLillo, out of Connecticut High School. And a lot of these players from that same area, Ronkonkoma in Suffolk County, Sachem High School right there. Well, St. John's has not scored an offensive touchdown now, Beasley, in 6 quarters. Remember their touchdown last week against Pace was a Neves interception touchdown return. So the offense continues to struggle as it has all year. Only Anthony Russo has been the one constant in that offense.
Well, as you bring that up, I hate to throw this out here, but St. John's, their little streak of not being shut out, obviously in trouble here because the offense can't get anything done. This is a team that hasn't been shut out since 1931. They need to get something going.
Short kick by O'Brien, and Broadway trying to bring it back. Crosses the 31-yard line. Let's go down to the field, and our sideline reporter, Matt Lachlan.
Barry, we have told our viewers about homecoming here at CW Post. The homecoming king and queen have been announced. Jackie Mansueta is the homecoming queen, and Sean Choi is the homecoming king. And Jackie, congratulations. How does it feel?
I am so excited. We've worked so hard for this. We really have, and Sean and I both deserve it.
Sean, this is more than just a popularity contest,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes. What happens is, like, basically you go for a panel of judges and they vote for you.
So it's more than just who the most popular male and female on campus in. There is an interview process. You have to submit a resume. So it is more involved than that. Jackie, I know you're involved in football more than just coming here for homecoming because you're also a cheerleader.
Yes, I am. I really enjoyed cheering for CW Post.
And I know you'll be back for the rest of the second half in just a moment. You were swinging back and forth, changing for halftime.
Yes, I have a very stiff wardrobe change today.
Both Jackie and Sean are excellent students, too. Sean, what do you major in?
I major in chemistry and pre-med.
And what are you looking to do after graduation?
Hopefully I'm going to get accepted to medical school, and hopefully it's going to be Penn State.
Well, we congratulate both of you on being homecoming queen and king for 1990. Two people representing Post both on and off, in and out of the classroom, rather, as they're excellent students, and they are honored today at homecoming. Back upstairs.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. On second down, Mike Frazetta gets the carry. Anthony Mondrone shuts it down quickly. Just before that, Anthony Russo had been stopped at the line of scrimmage, so on 2 running plays, they gained maybe about 1.5 yards, setting up a third down play.
Well, the problem is, once again, that the defensive line for CW Post is just very, very good.
7 plays, 62 yards, and again, it didn't take long for the Pioneers to get on the board, under 3 minutes, and Rob DeLillo capping the drive with a 1-yard run. And the Pioneers, with the 2-point extra point conversion by DeLillo, are leading right now 21-0. Sean Sharkey, back to pass, hit as he unlaid the ball. They'll rule it incomplete. Pressure from Ali Shama, number 97, the 4-year player who became a starter last year. Very intense young man. Gives you 110% on every down, according to the coaching staff.
Well, that's what you want, and we have heard his name an awful lot here today. Also, Troy Wilkes in on that one, kind of finishing off the situation.
Iadivio has come close to having one of his kicks blocked. He's averaged 29 yards on 5 kicks. They're coming again, and they block it this time. Cade with the block. He chases after it, picks it up, and goes for the touchdown. Bobby Cade makes it 27-0. Harvey and Cade were flying in there like nobody was blocking him. And Bobby Cade coming up with the touchdown. And again, the special teams, we talked about it all game, come up big all season for the Pioneers, and they do it here this afternoon.
Well, that was just exactly what they've been working on. Apparently, they knew they could get it done. They have tried for every punt. In recognition, I think, of the fact that St. John's really doesn't have a true punter. Idivio is simply a super athlete and stands in to do whatever the team asks him to do.
Liebertz will attempt the extra point this time with 10:14 to go in this third quarter. 2 quick scores. And DeLillo, who's thrown for a couple of extra points, looking to throw here, throws, and it is batted down. As the ball batted down by the Redmen on the far side. And it'll set up a stoppage, and Ray Lambright on the block. And we'll take another look at that beautiful block on the punt. Keep an eye on number 8, Bobby Cade, and number 24, Brian Harvey. They were coming like gangbusters.
Well, they've been breaking in all day long. Just perfect timing there. Cade picks it off of his foot. It's like a textbook block there, just perfectly executed. So his name goes on a list of guys who have knocked down punts for this team. Perez, Mondrone, Vito, and now Cade. Members of the Block Punt Club.
The Brigade.
The Block Punt Brigade.
Boy, and that gives such a special lift. A block punt.
My goodness.
It's such a psychologically demoralizing event.
Because it's so cheap. It happens so quickly. I mean, you work for it. It's something that you give effort to get, but it happens so quickly that it just takes a lot of the starch out of the team.
So the Redmen, who had battled very tough through the first half, 13-0, they trailed. 2 quick touchdowns in less than 5 minutes to start the second half. And the Post Pioneers, who scored 59 points against the Redmen on homecoming 4 years ago, won that one 59-28. Lead this one 27-0. Broadway will not get it. Instead, it'll be taken by Kantrowitz. Kantrowitz to the 25, and look at the swarm bring him down. 4 of 5 blue shirts led by Mioli, Phil Mioli, and Jim Flynn, number 57. Here's a look at number 7, Phil Mioli, defensive back.
9 yards on the return.
So the Redmen, Sean Sharkey comes out on the field with his club down 27-0. Mike Robinson will come in as a ball carrier.
Well, it's time to open it up.
Bill Osterman now in as a fullback, number 33. First time we've seen him. Russo lines up as the tailback in the eye. Sharkey rolling left, being chased, and will be spun down on the defensive play. Anthony Mondrone all alone from the backside just brought him down. Mondrone having a super season, first-year starter. Led the team in special teams.
Boy, it'll take a lot out of you to make a play like this. He had to run a long ways. He's coming from Sharkey's backside. He never sees him coming. He might pick him up right now. He sees something happening. He has the wherewithal to cover up the ball and keep from fumbling.
Mondrone, according to Tom Marshall, playing as well as that outside linebacker position. They call it the Willie linebacker, as well as anyone he's ever had play. Senior has really come on. Sharkey to throw sideline pattern to Long, and they rule it complete, but a short game.
Well, see, they are sort of relegated to the short pass right now, the short throw.
Redmen have not been shut out 128 consecutive games. And right now they've got a lot of time to try to change that, but they trail 27-0.
CW Post has been so dominant that really only St. John's can hope for is that they let up a little bit and allow them to get something on the board.
Sharkey with a pump fake, being chased by Swinson. Swinson has a piece of him, then he runs into Mondrone, who loves to hit. They call him Mr. Intensity. And again, Tom Marshall, quote, he's the best hitter I've ever had at that spot. Not a big guy, 5'10", 180, but he hits like a train.
Well, man, he had an opportunity to unload there. I bet Sharkey will tell you that he hits like a freight train fully loaded. He really put something on in that time.
Sharkey limping a little bit off. By the way, St. John's, we mentioned that record. That is since they started varsity football back in 1978. Bob Rick has been in there all the way, has a tremendous record of 81 wins, 46 losses, and a tie. Fake, and they've got a man out here, complete to Jason Villar. and Villar has the first down at the 48-yard line. So they come up with the fine play, and the man who threw the pass, I believe, was number 56 for St. John's, and that was Rich Colangelo.
Well, Colangelo can do it all, can he? He's a great tackler. 11 tackles last week. Excellent on special teams. He lifts this one up. Perfect pass, too. The receiver doesn't have to slow down, doesn't have to look back, doesn't have to do anything. Just keeps in stride. Super play. Comes at the right time.
Jason Villar may be the best athlete on the St. John's team. He was a converted quarterback, and he showed he could catch the football there. He's a defensive back, banged up a little right now. So let's see if the Redmen get life on that play at the 49-yard line. Sharkey to throw. Looking for Long. He's out there. Sideline panic. Can he catch up to it? No. Perez was defending on the play, but Long doesn't have great speed. That's not his biggest asset. He's got 4.8 speed. Just couldn't catch up to it.
No, he couldn't get there. It would take a pretty good throw to hit a pattern fading away like that over on the sideline, but certainly a makeable throw. It's one that should have been thrown that would pull Long to him as opposed to making Long try to stretch and really run. But at least he had time to throw a long pattern, and that may be what this new formation affords him, is a little extra protection.
Sharkey 3 for 10 for 32 yards. Second down with 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Little mix-up with Osterman and him. And another collision in the backfield. Again, you have a quarterback, doesn't take that many snaps. You've been alternating quarterbacks the last 2 or 3 weeks, and a mix-up right there as James Buckner wrapped up the play. So it'll set up a third down play. 3rd and 11 at midfield. St. John's with that banged up offensive line. A lot of youngsters in there. 3 freshmen now in on that offensive line. Sharkey looking for a screen. Can he get it off? No! Are they going to rule it a fumble? Yes, it's a fumble, loose ball. And let's see where they're going to mark it now. They're going to say he was down in the grasp there. Back at the 34-yard line, Troy Wilkes was the man who had him wrapped up. But I'll tell you, that post-Pioneer huge defensive line starting to wear down that St. John's offensive line.
They really are. They allowed him to come in trying to set up the screen, but they didn't want him to come in like that.
Iadivio had one blocked at his last time. Again, 10 men on the line of scrimmage. He'll have time to get this one off. And Teo at the 36-yard line to the 44. Flag is thrown on the play. And we'll wait for the call, but it could be against Post on the return. Mike Edney, number 58, on the tackle. Quick update on the out-of-town scoreboard. Cortland in a very big game leading Springfield 14-7. Cortland right up there among the top teams, number 3 in our poll. And number 2 in the NCAA poll. And we'll update more scores for you. Cortland now leading as we get a further score, 28-7 over Springfield. Springfield, a Division II school that Post will play later in the season. And Ithaca's opened up a 28-13 lead over Buffalo State.
Personal foul. Clipping on the return, 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Keep your eye a little bit left. You might, there's the clip right there in the back. Great camera work. And that's something that'll really mess up a drive as they move them back. But of course, CW Post in the comfortable driving position now.
Post leading 27-0. Single setback is Shanahan. Pitch to Shanahan. Nothing there, so he'll cut against the grain. And again, Shanahan keeps spinning on the leg drive. And it picks up about 5 yards on a play that, again, there was nothing. It might have been a yard gain.
Absolutely nothing there. And I'll tell you that the NFL is going to backs like Shanahan, the short in stature guy with the low center of gravity. That body build gives you the opportunity to make those type of cuts. That was a 45-degree angle that he hit coming back at, and he didn't lose too much speed doing it. So that's impressive, and that's why he's working on his second 1,000-yard rushing year back-to-back.
He's gained 60 yards and 13 carries, and only 21 in the first half. They did a good job holding him on 10 carries to 21 yards. Carino, and incomplete as he tried to throw out of the backfield to Rob DeLillo. Scott Biter providing the coverage, setting up a third down play.
Colangelo and O'Grady forcing him to throw that like 3/4 of a second before he wanted to let it go. He really couldn't aim it. He had to just push it out there.
Don't forget, next week you'll see these Post Pioneers in action against the Wagner Seahawks, who were upset yesterday. Greg Harris, the brilliant tailback, injured in the game, a bruised kidney. Gained 70 yards before he was hurt. We don't know if he'll be able to play next week, but should be a dandy. Wagner and Post right here on Sports Channel next Saturday at 1:30. Carino, a lot of time, now pressured by O'Grady from the backside, off the hands of Shanahan, but caught by his teammate Jack Jenkins upfield. Let's see what they're going to rule. They're going to rule it complete. So when things are going right, they go right. Shanahan couldn't get it off his hand, and there's Jack Jenkins alertly to come up with the ball. His 4th reception of the season, 2nd of the game.
When it's going right, you get the right bounces. The tips kind of go your way. And you know, we can't. I'm not trying to insinuate that there's anything lucky involved in this. CW Post has simply trained well, played well, and playing well tonight.
Once again, Shanahan. And will be taken down as he got just about to the line of scrimmage. Ray Lambright shutting the hole down. And good-looking freshman, 6'2", 240-pounder, who will be around for Bob Recker's defensive unit for a long while. I'm happy to get him in the program.
That play really didn't work, but a nice diversionary tactic as they lined up in a normal formation and then split 2 or 3 receivers out to the left side to give the look, a kind of a confusion to the defense, and then just run a simple pitch play.
Pergola and Byrne line up at the bottom of your picture as flankers. Shanahan going in motion. Pitch to DeLillo behind Shanahan. And look at him drive forward. Tough to bring down that freight. And he gets to the 45-yard line. Scott Biter on the tackle. Nice to see Shanahan turn the trick there and be the lead blocker for DeLillo.
Sure. They do that well together. And I tell you, to bring down DeLillo, you have to tackle by committee. You don't want to get left alone with all of that manpower moving at you at 4'6" in the 40-yard dash. So you got to tackle him with a group. And St. John's did that time, but only after a nice game.
DeLillo's gained close to 400 yards this year on the ground. That's Quadraro in motion. Shanahan and has the first down as he gets to around midfield. Stopped by Scott Biter. Not before he picked up a first down. And Post just starting to dominate the line of scrimmage here in the second half, as we expected. Much bigger and stronger physically.
Well, Post is a 3rd and 4th quarter team. In the 4th quarter, they outscore their opponents 21-13. In the 3rd quarter, it's a little bit better than that.
DeLillo will get a breather right now. Quadraro has replaced him as the fullback. Hand off to Shanahan on the draw. Tripped up, maybe got a yard inside midfield to the 49. Mike Cunningham, the nose tackle, brought him down. A Joe Klecko type, 6'2", 6 foot, 235 pounds. Inverted linebacker who replaced Kenny Cobb. So the Redmen have given up more points in this game than they have all year. Rob DeLillo now back in. There's a look at Sharkey, the freshman, who has taken a little bit of a beating today.
He's been banged around a little bit.
Reno to throw. Hit as he throws, looking for Pergola. Tipped in the air by Gasparis, and Pergola catches it out of bounds.
Out and go pattern almost worked. The thing that I like about that is Carino threw the ball way before the receiver had made his second cut. It was like a timing deal that almost worked.
Carino.
You know, you got to wonder what Russo's thinking right now. Tough day for him. He hasn't been able to get on track for the 2nd week in a row. Last week he only had 58 yards. Today just really, oh my goodness, 10 attempts, 9 yards. So he's right now.
He's had trouble the last 2 games, and having trouble right now is Carino, and he just throws it away. And are they going to rule grounding? No, they say there was a man in the area. He was getting pressure that time.
Yeah, Shanahan was running toward him. That's just a smart play. Why throw it to Shanahan and get him destroyed just throw it into the ground and line up and punt.
Mike Cunningham and Ray Lambright were putting a little heat on him. Only the second punt for Manzella. Punted a 43-yarder. This one, he sails beautifully downfield. Good hang time. Frazetta will take it inside the 10. He's a fine punt returner, and he gets up to around the 14-yard line. 41-yard return, a 41-yard kick, a 5-yard return, and Mike Ware brought him down, along with Mike Myers.
Well, that's what I was hoping everybody would get a chance to see, is to see him really connect on a punt. Nice technique, nice high hang time, allowing his guys to get back there and hold that to only a 5-yard return.
Well, we want to remind you that next Saturday, Sports Channel continues its exclusive coverage of local college football when the Wagner Seahawks tackle these CW Post Pioneers. That's the Metro College Football Game of the Week, Wagner versus CW Post, next Saturday afternoon at 1:30, live and exclusive on Sports Channel. Sharkey will hand off to Russo, and again, Russo, nothing at the line of scrimmage. So he is shut down this time by Mark Swinson and Troy Wilkes. Now, Wilkes got the game started with some outstanding defensive plays, and the rest of the team seems to have picked up the pace after that.
Yeah, everybody else is contributing right now. You know, one of the things that happens to you psychologically as a team, you go 3 quarters unable to do anything, and, you know, you're not able to block that defensive line. You stop believing that the play is going to work. It can happen psychologically.
Sharkey on second down and about 10. He's in trouble, being chased over there by Wilkes, and finally tripped up at a 10-yard line.
See, I don't know what you can ask Sharkey to do there. If a guy can come sprinting in there like it's just you and him, it's almost like it's Sharkey and the defensive lineman.
Mark Swinson, number 88, and Troy Wilkes, number 99, in hot pursuit here.
Now, see, take a look at this. It's like there's 2 people on the football field, him and him. And there's not much you can do there. You can't ask the kid to do any more than what he just did.
3rd and 13 for the Redmen. They should be blitzing here. Wilkes lining up at the left side. 2 men try to block him. Sharkey will get the pass off for Long. Perez defending, and Perez with a sensational interception. And there's also a flag on the play. Let's see if it's offensive pass interference against Long, trying to prevent Perez from catching that ball.
Yeah, a little question about that. Long tried to jump over his head, got a lot of his head. That was a super interception to be able to concentrate and make the play. You know, for a second there, because of Long's height, you got to hold your breath and see whether or not he's actually going to come up with that ball, but unable to do so there. Maybe, of course, I'm talking after I see the play, but maybe he should just reach in there and knock it out, become a defender in that position. So we take a look at Sharkey here.
5-yard face mask penalty after the change of possession. From the end of the run, 5 yards, first down.
You see the pattern and you see the jump, and then he pulls his face mask. Good camera angle. You see him snapping the head back just a little bit. So as a result, it's after the play. Nothing changes.
So Dean Carino once again inside midfield with field position. I think every one of their drives except one has started inside midfield. Here's DeLillo. Pulls his way to the 42-yard line. There was no hole. Picked up 3 tough yards again. Scott Biter, the leading tackler, one of the best in the Liberty Conference, with the stop. And the Post Pioneers just a quarter and 10 seconds away from a Liberty Conference title that eluded them last year. They felt they were the best team, but St. John's won the championship last year, and St. John's beat them by 3 points. So
well, you know, I'm a big believer, as we see the quarter expire, a big believer in the best team winning.
So that's the story after 3. Lead it 27-0.
Hey, Rego Park, you asked for a home entertainment center you could trust, and we heard you.
Grand opening. Our 30th Superstore, Rego Park on Queens Boulevard. All stores celebrate. Save 5 to 25% on selected home electronics. Take $2 off every CD and $1 off every cassette. Don't miss the grand opening of Nobody Beats the Wiz in Rego Park.
Nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz. Too the good life. To live the good life, you have to pay the price. The average new car costs over $15,000. But
You're a member of their staff, and next week you've got Post.
Yeah, well, you know, we're looking forward to having a great opportunity to come out here and play against such a great Post team. I was a Post player for the last 4 years, and I don't think I've seen a team quite as good as this one. This one's going to be a tough one, I'll tell you.
Wagner coming off a loss last night, so after what you've seen through 3 quarters and what your team has done through the this part of the season, what are you going to do next week?
Well, you know, we're going to come out here and give it our best shot. You know, I think the Post players are all up. They're on a roll right now, as the scoreboard shows you. You know, hey, go to it. We're just going to come out and, you know, and hopefully, you know, maybe we'll get a couple things to roll our way. You know, we'll give it our best shot. That's the best I can say.
It'll be an interesting, emotional day for you, I'm sure, next week.
Oh, yeah, but I got to go with Wagner, you know. Hey, I've been working hard, coaching the kids. I'm the tight end coach over there, and, you know, I got to go behind Wagner. I'm sorry about that.
Between quarters, I asked you what you found different from playing versus coaching, and you said it's time.
Oh, yeah. You put in a lot more time as a coach. You know, it's a 9 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. You know, you're breaking down film, the whole bit. But basically, you know, it's just being involved in the game is what I like. You know, God, I love that opportunity just to be involved. That's it.
When Coach Marshall and the staff last year were telling you this, that, or the other thing, a little bit of execution or a little bit of strategy, did you realize all the work that went behind those statements?
Oh, absolutely not. Now that I'm coaching, I'm seeing a broader view of everything. I see that, you know, how much everything fits in, you know, all the different plans, everything. It's all towards one goal, you know. And each week it's a little bit different, but in the, you know, each player, I think it's very difficult for a player. He's got to concentrate on what he's got to do. But as a coach, you know, you got to see everything.
Well, Rich, we wish you the best of luck with Wagner. Next week, Wagner and CW Post battling it out, and possibly a playoff berth on the line in that game. Back upstairs.
Thank you, Matt. Richie Carroll, a Liberty Conference all-star lineman. Tom Marshall's got a great offensive line. Wouldn't mind having that guy back on there.
No, he wouldn't. That guy's still got some shoulders. It looks like he's wearing his shoulder pads underneath that blue blazer. Good-looking athlete.
36-yard punt by Manzella, so they're backed up to the goal line. Sharkey to throw on first down. Iadivio trying to come up with a catch, hit hard by Stevens, and it's an incompletion. John Stevens, a tough sophomore. He had an outstanding game last week, 2 interceptions against Iona. As you look at Iadivio, he had it for a moment, then was hit hard by Stevens and coughed it up.
Well, this is that time of the game where the defensive backs move, that you move 2 steps backwards across the board, and you get ready to break on the ball. You know they have to throw to get back in this game. You know some opportunities are going to be floating in the air.
Sharkey, incomplete, and hit hard on the play was the intended receiver. Paul Engelhardt coming up and hitting the intended receiver very hard, Pat Costello. So Costello, a tight end out of Plainview here on Long Island, feeling the bite from Paul Engelhardt, the preseason All-American. Haven't mentioned his name because they've thrown away from him, but he is one heck of a player, Paul Engelhardt.
He really is leading tackler, really tough guy.
51 tackles.
You're right.
Had an interception return for a touchdown against Pace, a 30-yarder. So here's 3rd and long. Sharkey in the end zone. Throwing up the middle for long. It is picked off. Picked off by the defensive secondary. And Danny Vito with the interception. And once again, the Post Pioneers have the ball inside the 20-yard line as they go for 6 more.
Well, this is without question the preferred lie. They don't have too far to go to get something on the board here. And once again, what is in danger? St. John's has not been shut out since 1931. Now they dropped the program 3 games later, picked it back up in 1978. And one interesting note for Giant fans, Bob Shepard, the great voice that you hear sometimes. Just a bad decision there. When he takes a look at the special teams film, he's going to go, oh, man, if I just gone to the right.
Let's go. Let's get it checked.
You know, these punts have been line drives by IDBO. Those are the perfect kind of returns because they get to you real quick. You've got time to catch it and then look up and make a plan, come up with a plan.
9:40 to go, fourth quarter. Pioneers comfortably in front, 27-0 as they work out of the I formation. Shanahan, nothing there, so he tries to spin away, breaks a couple of tackles, and picks up about 2 yards when he should have lost about 3 on the play.
That was a good run. Just doing whatever he has to do, and also working that clock. You know, he scampering around back there, just letting the clock run.
Biter and Lambright combined to finally bring him down.
It's a great luxury CW Post has, the ability to throw with Carino, to let Carino run. You got a couple of solid running backs that you can just pitch to and run the clock down, get first downs. Very balanced offense.
Carino off the play action with time, has Pergola wide open, puts it right on the money, and Pergola out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. He is having the best day of his career, run out by Scott Waite. And Anthony Pergola with his 7th reception of the day. His previous best game coming into the action today was 5 catches for 115 yards and against Hofstra. Now he catches his 7th pass.
Well, they continue to diversify and keep throwing the football. Nothing has changed in their play calling. Little rollout. Take a look at this young guy right here. And watch this. He almost spins out of that tackle. Good balance.
Len Fields now in the ballgame for Tom Marshall as a wide receiver. Pitch to Shanahan behind DeLillo. Missing the tackle was Colangelo, and Shanahan runs it downfield, picking up about 7. Colangelo had a chance to bring him down in the backfield, but he missed the tackle by an instant on Shanahan.
Well, the thing about Shanahan, he's not the type of guy that you can reach out and dive and tackle with your arms. If you don't get the side of your helmet and some shoulder pads on this kid, he will continue to move in motion. Take a look at this. See, he gets his arms on him, but man, you can't tackle this guy with arms. Look at that. 3-4 guys couldn't tackle him right there. Just leans in, good balance and good strength.
So Dave Shanahan quietly picking up the yardage here. He has averaged over 100 yards per game in rushing. And so far today, Shanahan's numbers are 21 carries for 79 yards, including a 5-yard touchdown.
Carl Volpe coming out of the lineup for St. John's with his one shoulder bent down, probably took a little stinger in the shoulder there.
2nd and 3 for the Pioneers. And fumbling the ball, falling on it is Carino. One of the few mishaps that the Pioneers have had today. They've played almost a mistake-free game.
They really have, and their execution is so crisp. Things move so quickly when they run a play.
Carino 15 for 23 for 211 yards and 1 touchdown. This is his best game of the season. His previous high had been 183 yards and 2 touchdowns, 9 for 16 against Stony Brook. A very balanced attack here today for the Pioneers on 3rd down. Carino looking, and it is complete at the goal line for a touchdown. Jimmy Byrne coming up with a reception. The freshman with his 4th catch of the day, and this time he hung on to the ball where he dropped it a little bit earlier.
Well, when you say freshman, that kind of explains the first drop. You have to learn how to go in there in traffic and catch it. You have to have the disappointment and that gut-wrenching feeling that you have when you let one go for that would have been a touchdown, and you know that it was in traffic, and you know people are going to be saying, oh man, maybe he was worried about getting hit. He gets the opportunity again. That's one of the beautiful things about sports. Goes in and makes the play.
2nd touchdown catch of the year for that young man. Liebert's kick this time is true. And the Redmen now trail 34-0. There's a look at Jimmy Byrne, known as a fine possession receiver with excellent hands, and he showed the good hands here.
Really the same play. Just comes back, inside cut, takes it in the breadbasket, tucks it away, and rolls over. Touchdown.
And up at Jack Coffey Field at Fordham University, the Red Raiders have opened up a 28-7 lead over Fordham with 5:40 to go. Rams with 1 win this year over Mickey Kwiatkowski's Brown team. And as we said, you'll see Fordham coming up in November against Holy Cross right here on Sports Channel. Well, Post has not been in a playoff for many years, not since going back to Division III football from Division II, and an impressive victory here today will run their record to 6-1. And they should move up in the rankings as far as the poll is concerned based on their performance today.
They really should. They've looked good in all phases of the game. There's not a segment of football where they can't look back and say, we made a big play in that area today. Well, they got the block punt. It's good offensive play, good play on defense.
5-yard pass from Carino capping that 57-yard drive. Now, once again, kickoff coming. St. John's has punted a lot and received a lot of kickoffs here.
Yeah, they have.
Taken upfield. This is Amalfitano. He won't get far to the 25-yard line. So every phase of the post game, the special team coverage on the kicks, their own punt coverage has been excellent, and they come up with a good play there. Brian Allen, number 37 on the tackle.
Yeah, I think they have physically just kind of made a statement to St. John's with the size of their defensive and offensive line and the dominant play in that area that has just kind of taken the starch out of the Redmen, took it out early. The defense certainly wasn't backing down early. They answered the call on 2 or 3 occasions, but there's only so many times that you can go to that particular well against a team with the talent that CW Post possesses.
Here's Sharkey throwing on the run, out of bounds, intended for Jeff Long as he was being pursued hard by James Buckner, number 98. Tough pass to complete. Right-handed quarterback rolling to the left.
That's a tough one to complete. And if you notice, a good defense squeezes down the field when you do something like that. They know he can't throw back to the right when he's rolling to the left, a right-handed quarterback, so they just slide down, and he had about a 1-foot radius that he could throw into, and it wasn't complete.
Sharkey 3 for 15 for 32 yards, 2 interceptions. Second half, he's 1 for 8, and both those interceptions have come here in the second half. In trouble again. Chased by Wilkes. Look at the speed of Wilkes. Can he catch up to him? Yes, he can. Troy Wilkes turning on the burners, catching Sean Sharkey from behind. Well, they say this guy makes things happen when he's out there on the field, and Wilkes showing that 4.5 speed right there.
Wilkes has a lot of potential in every area. Now we know that Sharkey's got good foot speed. So for Wilkes to look at that closing and then reach like a that's impressive.
Hunting the prey, as they say.
Oh man.
3rd and 7 for the Redmen. They'll try Russo. Tripped up. And again, number 99 was the man who got a hand on him. Troy Wilkes, it looks like a man playing among boys out here. Looks like there's more than one of these guys out there.
Let's take a look at this guy. Just look how he comes up. Watch him eludes the blocker, falls back on the inside. Kind of don't like that tackle. He kind of fainted in front of the tackle there. But Russo's a tough guy. Russo will make you faint. He's got some good moves.
Idevio to punt. He's getting into double figures in punting. 9th punt. One more to go, and they almost get this one. Mondro, number 56, almost blocked it. And Teo avoids that tackle as the St. John's player Jamie Borg just went over the top. So the Pioneers get the ball at the 38-yard line. I'm going to try to ask Hal Sass, our brilliant statistician, to tell us what is the worst possession area that the Post Pioneers have started this afternoon, because I don't think it's been inside the 35 at all, Beasley.
No, I don't believe it has either. They've really come up with good field position all night long. You control that, and the scoring opportunities come.
New quarterback Billy Vega, the freshman, 6', 200-pounder, is in the ball game. And not an auspicious start as he throws that one to Julio Teo, and it's going to be ruled a fumble.
Now, I don't know what Billy was thinking there. I know he's a little nervous coming in, but now he probably turned the wrong way. He turned the wrong way. His teammates were going in another direction, but he should have just tucked the ball under and followed them. Let them become blockers. I don't know what he was doing with that little move throwing the ball. I'll leave him alone.
Well, the second unit is in offensively. Frank Corderero is in as the fullback, number 33. And we've got a new tailback in. We'll pick him up for you in a moment. Looks to be Julio Teo. Handoff to Teo. Slips a tackle, and Teo is brought down. He's a sophomore. Injured his ankle against Iona last week. He's got speed and power. He's only carried the ball 7 times this year. Now we'll get another substitution for the Post Pioneers as they bring in a wide receiver. Number 83 coming into the ball game is Mike LoRusso at split end. Fields lines up wide to the left. Third and long.
Maybe we'll see Vega get a shot at his first pass.
Vega's 11 for 17 on the year in passing. They'll keep it on the ground, and Teo will be stopped after a 2-yard pickup. So St. John's will get the ball back. And probably their best field position in a long time here, unless Manzella boots one of his typical 50-yarders downfield. Quick kick, not all the players off the field. Flags are thrown right here. Post had not gotten off the field. Iadivio with the ball. Iadivio spun down as he got to the 28-yard line. And there is a flag on the play. It was brought down by Thomas Humkow. I want to thank our spotters who've done a splendid job today. Looking into the sun, Mark Scanlon from CW Post and Frank Raccanello, fine sports information director from St. John's. And also want to thank Bill Huffman, sports information director for the Post Pioneers, for his help. 49-yard punt from Mr. Manzella. Two penalties there. Looked like an eligible man down there, and clip. Might have been a legal substitution there because the flag went down when the Post had too many players on the field. They were in the process of making the change to get the punting unit on. They wanted to get that punt off pretty quickly.
There were 2 fouls on the play. Illegal substitution against St. John's. That's a 5-yard penalty. That was declined. And a personal foul, clipping against St. John's on the return. That one will be accepted. Half the distance to the goal line. First down, St. John's.
Well, I beg your pardon. I had seen the Post players running to get off the field. I thought they were going to be called for the infraction. Be that as it may, St. John's gets nailed with the penalties. And instead of starting in pretty good field position, Bees, it's pretty poor position.
It is a horrible position. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the fourth. Sharkey will probably get a chance to air it out a little bit.
Post worst field position, by the way, to start twice. They started at the 22-yard line. St. John's best starting position was at the 30-yard line. So that's the way things have gone for the Redmen. Sharkey trip, pitches to Russo, and Russo is going to lose some stats on that play. So Sharkey a little bit shaky there in a sense of, hey, I want to get rid of the ball here. Yeah. Don't tackle me, tackle the other guy. So that play not working. Russo has carried the ball 14 times for a net of 7 yards, by far his worst day in this fine freshman's very good career so far. .340 to go. And second and long yardage for the Redmen. Russo the single set. Now the ball handed off to Frazetta, number 24.
Mike Frazetta, the ball carrier. Marty McNamara made the stop.
Watching the sideline and also the defensive unit. There's a look at Dean Carino in the white hat. And his best day of his fine career, 16 for 24, 216 yards and 2 touchdowns for the sophomore. Sharkey, the freshman, to throw. Tip Long got a piece of it. It was initially tipped by one of the linebackers, and it fell incomplete. As number 4, Michael Johnson, got a piece of it. One of the captains, named the captain for today. So once again, the 10th punt, I believe, of the ball game for Anthony Iadivio. Again, 10 men up on the line of scrimmage, and the Pioneers would like nothing more to put 6 up on the board, possibly with another block punt. They're coming. High snap, and they may get him. Iadivio's going to be forced to run. And he's down at the 10-yard line.
Well, it doesn't get any tougher than this to have that happen in this situation. I'm sure that CW Post, with 2 minutes and 42 left, will have the opportunity to just kind of run it down as best they can. You know, when you see something like that happen, it calls into question in my mind the play calling in the last couple of series. It's been a run, punt, as if the, run, punt, as if it was a 7-0 ball game or another couple of quarters to play.
And Vega pitching to Teo. Cuts back and down at around the 6-yard line.
When you start calling plays like that in the last quarter, and that's the way it's been the entire fourth quarter, your team starts to wonder whether or not you think we can win the game. It's almost as if by the play calling, it's so careful, so to speak. No passes to try to get back in this thing. Nothing really creative to try to pull the team back in it. You got to figure as a team that, well, maybe we can't win this game.
Ryan Neville lines up as a flanker wide to the left. And again, they have trouble off the exchange. And Vega will come up with the ball as we hit the 2-minute mark. And the Pioneers with a 34-0 lead. And it looks like that run of 128 games for the Redmen to score at least a field goal or point is going to go by the board unless things can change right now.
Yeah, we're on the verge of history. And like I'm saying, I held this back for a couple of series, but in this last quarter, I would have at least been trying to get a couple of long plays off to get a field goal off to try to at least stop that from happening.
Billy Vega on 3rd down here. Here's the pitch. Quadraro looking for the end zone. He dives and he's in. Frank Quadraro, the sophomore, with his first touchdown run in a Pioneer uniform. And the score now reads 40-0 in favor of the Post Pioneers. Well, they won 59-28 on homecoming 4 years ago. And now they lead it 40-0.
CW Post can certainly look forward to a day of celebration and whatever homecoming activities that they have lined up after this one. The team has just stepped out and took their first ever Liberty Conference title on homecoming.
And Beasley, as you look at the scores that they've beaten Liberty Conference opponents, they deserve this Liberty Conference crown. They've beaten everybody by big scores.
Oh, they really have. They have really been good all season long. As we see the touchdown run here, just overpowering, pushing, and at the end, the running back runs over somebody.
And let's give credit. We haven't mentioned the names of the offensive line much today, but let's give credit to these unsung heroes. Tom Marshall likes those guys. He likes the Hogs down there. Bobby Smith, number 66. John Calabria, 68. Peter Clark, the center, 60. Durrell Pearsall has pulled often and pulled well, number 64. Glenn Crowley, the junior, number 53, who's quite an inspirational story. Had a serious knee injury. They thought he'd never play football, but came back, worked hard, and has been a pleasant surprise for this team. And the other guys, Johnny Nikolic, Bill Corrado, and Fitzroy Thomas, some subs on that offensive line. Ball down. The kick by Lieberts this time is good. So the only phase of their game which really has been off a little bit has been the place kicking part of their game. They've missed a couple of field goals, extra points, but I think they'll work on that.
Yeah, they'll work on that. The overall, the special teams have been fantastic. The defense was good. The offense was good. And the effort by St. John's was good for really up until about now. They've probably conceded psychologically now, but really, especially the defense of St. John's, they can get on the bus and look themselves in look in their own soul and feel pretty good about the way they tried to hang in this thing. The offense, that's a different story. They've got a lot to think about. They've got a couple of big games remaining. They've got to take a look at Hofstra. They're going to play them in a couple of weeks. So, you know, you're obviously disappointed when you don't get to repeat as conference champions, but they've still got a lot of good football to play.
Well, the Redmen are losing by 41 points, and this has to be their biggest loss in several years in terms of score. They have been so competitive. Their only loss last year, of course, to that excellent Hofstra team, which went on to lose to Montclair State in the playoffs. And want to let you folks know that we'll have a scoreboard coming up. Those of you want to know how some of the other games are taking place and unfolding in Division III football around the metropolitan area, we'll have a scoreboard coming up right after this game's over, so stay tuned for all the latest scores. Cantrowitz at the 20. And as he gets to the 31-yard line, going to ask you a prediction on that Notre Dame-Miami game, Bees. That's a game that's just about getting started, I guess.
Well, that's going to be a super contest. It's real tough to win up there. But I'm going to take, I really feel like Notre Dame's a little bit down. But, you know, both teams have taken a loss already, and another loss virtually throws two teams that are always in the picture when it comes down to the wire. One of them is going to be out of the picture after this game. So I think you're going to see two teams that play as if they had no losses and everything in the world is on the line. Should be a super game. I'm going to go with the University of Miami with an upset up there.
Sharkey to Chris Amalfitano, and a flag is thrown on the play as he was hit out of bounds. Chris, the brother of Anthony Amalfitano, he was the outstanding receiver last year with Dennis McDermott. Anthony did not do well in school, so he's not in school at St. John's this year. He's at Queensborough Community College trying to get his academics up, and hopefully will play next year. But those of us who saw him play last year know that he is going to be one heck of a receiver next year for St. John's if he can get back in school.
It's the defense, 15 yards at the end of the run, first down.
Biggest margin for Post ever in a ball game was 75-0 in a win over St. Peter's back in 1973. In case you're wondering if this 41-point margin is one of their bigger ones. A minute 8 to go for the Redmen, trying to get on the board. Short run there for Robinson. Clock continues to tick as we're under a minute to go. Mario Lopez on the tackle. Second and 8 with 46 seconds to go. Sharkey for long, incomplete. That will stop the clock.
At the post 23.
Should St. A little dousing there for Tom Marshall there, Bees.
You know, the old tradition. There's a couple of sneaky guys. Look at them. Sneaky guys.
And it was a little guy, Ali Shama there, 97. He said, a little wet time.
Oh, they're slinging. They're getting everybody over there
ready,
right now.
They're getting ready for homecoming.
That's right.
Come on now, let's get to it.
End of the game.
All right, our hidden camera over there catching the sound and
That's right.
fury.
We're better than candid camera.
Larry Roth's crew doing another splendid job today, bringing you the coverage from Hickox Field. 33 seconds to go. Should St. John's go on to lose this game by the score of 41-0, it'll be the worst loss in 13 varsity seasons. Bob Ricca, not a very good homecoming for Bob Ricca today, coming back to CW Post where he played for 3 years. Long to the left at the bottom of your picture. IDVO to the right. 33 seconds to go. Third down and about 7. Frazetta in motion. Sharkey throwing to the sideline. Frazetta's out there. He cuts back and still on his feet trying to get out of bounds, and he carries a man out of bounds. stopping the clock with 22 seconds to go. So the Redmen adding a little drama to this game at the end.
Super job. At least if nothing else, they'll get a kick to try to keep from being shut out and keep that string alive.
33-yard gain. Mike Frazetta, another good-looking freshman, coming up with the play. Ali Shama's gone back in the game. So have some of the starters. I think Post wants to keep the shutout. I see Wilson here. A lot of the starters are back in right now.
Why not?
At least the down linemen are. 22 seconds to go. Can St. John score and avert the shutout? Keep the string going. Frazetta in motion. And some movement.
Got him.
Second ticked off the clock. There's Carmine Picardo. His crew has done another fine job, the ECAC officials.
That was number 24 coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, waving that flag off. Now, second ticked off the clock. Should they put it back on, Bees?
No, I think they better leave it alone.
No. One time on 5.
Inadvertent flag, so Redmen will still have first down. Nose of the ball just outside the 10-yard line. Again, some movement. And it looked like one of the St. John's linemen was moving that time. One of the young linemen. And it was number 71, Mike Medina.
Cut that out!
They're talking things over with the Pioneers.
Now that was the first flag that they waved.
Penalty.
First flag that they waved off, it was the right tackle moving a little bit. Next flag that they waved off, it was the left tackle moving a little bit. That'll kind of lead you to think that they were about to pass.
Just a little bit of a hint there, huh?
So they were trying to get out of there real quick because they got some tough guys on the corners rushing for CW Post.
Gives them a little more room to operate now. Again, a little movement that they play on. Sharkey rolling right. Flag is thrown on the play. Sharkey throwing toward the end zone. Bobby Cade picks it off. Cade being chased. Still on his feet and bumped, and now finally shoved out of bounds. And St. John's with some hard hitting over there. But Cade doesn't want to get in the middle of things. He said, I got my interception. I'll dance across field.
Yeah, Cade should have jumped a little bit further out of bounds that time. He just made the big play with 7 seconds left on the clock.
There was a flag on the play, however. And let's see what will unfold. Officials talking it over. Don't forget Wagner next week here at CW Post. No, they're going to bring it back.
Oh, that's great. It gives them another opportunity. As we take a look at the replay here, I tell you, the snapping.
He had a free play, as it turns out here.
Well, then smart by the quarterback. If you got a freebie, take a shot at the end zone.
Offsides on a defense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Well, the only thing is that time ticks off the clock. And in this case, time is more important than the interception or whatever, running the football there.
Well, they've got one shot. One shot at evolving the shutout. And this is it. It has come to this.
So 128 games comes down to this. Field goal kicking unit is bad. They haven't kicked a field goal all year. They've attempted only one. So this is it. They've got to go for 6. Long in motion. Sharkey looking. He's got a man out there. Jeff Long. It's batted the end. Long scores! Jeff Long! No! Incomplete, they say. And Post, with no time left, appears to have the shutout.
An exciting finish.
John Stevens was over there. Jeff Long throws the football down in disgust. And the Pioneers on homecoming have shut out the Redmen 41-0. And what a strange ending to this game.
What a super ending, I tell you.
There is Jeff Long. Now, Tom Marshall will be heading over, I believe, to chat with our Matt Lachlan in just a moment. And you're going to meet a very happy coach. He felt this was the best team he ever had, Bees, as we said at the very outset. And I think they proved to a lot of people on homecoming that this is an outstanding Post team.
Well, it's one thing to have a great team. It's another thing to put them in a position, train them, be lucky enough to keep everybody healthy, be lucky enough to get the right bounces, the right breaks, and get yourselves a conference championship, and he's done it.
We'll take another look at that last play right now, and it was a wild one.
What an exciting turn of events. No need to even run a play-action fake there. Everybody knew he'd go to the end zone here. An apparent interception coming up.
Yep.
Ball hits the side of the helmet, bounces up, and guess who's there? The very talented Jeff Long moves in, trying to see his feet here. It's hard to see that line. He makes the catch. The right toe must be right on the chalk.
All right, standing by down on the field, Matt Lachlan and Tom Marshall.
Barry, that play was close, but the shutout preserved. Tom Marshall, your team now Liberty Conference champions for the first time ever. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're very proud of what we've done. And we worked hard this week, and we look forward to playing it and winning that conference championship.
First time St. John's has been shut out since they reinstituted varsity football.
Well, we said that we would like to shut them out. We thought we had a good enough defense, so we went after them, and we did it. We got it. It was close at the end. It's unbelievable.
Tom, you talked to me earlier in the week about the physical intimidation that might take place. Your team, a physical club. After the Hofstra game, you picked up the pace of your practices. I think it showed on the field today.
I think it did. I don't know what the statistics will be, but I'm not sure, but they may have minus yards. That's the best we've ever played. That's better than we've ever played around here playing defense, and I'm very, very proud of our defense.
3 more games on the regular season schedule, and you talked after that Hofstra game about the club having to pick up the pace because of the season-ending schedule.
Yes, well, we play Wagner next week, and they're a great football team. And then we got Springfield, another good football team, and then we have Ithaca. So, yeah, every week from now on, we're going to have to pick up the pace and be a good football team.
With the conference championship out of the way, your team can now focus on the Division III playoffs, and right now you're on that perimeter. You're on the bubble of breaking in. Some of those clubs play each other. They may knock each other off. A Cortland plays Ithaca, for instance. Destiny, though, is in your own hands.
Yeah, I guess as long as we win, I think we may have a shot. You know, Hofstra's, I don't think anybody's going to beat Hofstra. So whether they would pick 2 people from the region, but we're going to give it a shot.
Coach, you said this is the best team you've ever had. Can it get better?
Yeah, I think it can get better. I think our offense is going to get better. We've got some personnel over there, but I think we're going to get better. I think we're going to be a better football team.
What are you expecting next week? Wagner coming off a loss. They're going to be excited about getting back into the winning column.
Well, they've got a great tailback in Harris. We respect him tremendously. We're going to get ready. I haven't seen him yet on film, but we're going to take a good look at him, and we'll be ready to go.
Well, you'll be ready to go off this victory. Now, Liberty Conference champions. Tom Marshall, congratulations. Good luck next week and the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Tom Marshall, the veteran head coach of CW Post. We'll take a short break. We'll come back to Hickox Field with more. Stay with us.
Hofstra University campus is one of only 65 in the nation recognized as an arboretum with over 6,000 trees representing over 200 different varieties. The Hofstra Museum, one of only 45 nationally accredited university museums with 40 exhibitions each year. The internationally recognized Hofstra Cultural Center, and over 500 cultural events each year available to students and the public. Hofstra University. We teach success.
I'm Cy Sperling, president of Hair Club for Men. These men called Hair Club's toll-free number, requesting our informative booklet about thinning hair. Probably the best call they've ever made. Inside is everything you need to know about hair replacement, including this complete objective bibliography. You'll learn about toupees, weaves, transplants, the misconceptions of minoxidil, as well as Hair Club's non-surgical strand-by-strand method, which adds carefully matched top-quality human hair to your own hair. In no time, you'll have a natural-looking head of hair that lets you lead a worry-free, active lifestyle. No chemicals, no surgery, yet it feels like a part of you. The price is based on your degree of hair loss. And remember, we stand behind it. If you want more facts free and without obligation, you can call this toll-free number for your free booklet. Consultations are free. And by the way, I'm not only the Hair Club president, but I'm also a client.
The Nets are jamming.
The leading pass to Bowie and a jam.
The Nets are jamming.
Left foot Morris and a lefty jam.
the Nets jam with the best of the NBA. 41 great home games in all. Call toll-free 1-800-7-NJ-NETS for season tickets and jam with the Nets all season long.
The Nets are jamming.
Hinson takes it in the lane and jams it.
The Nets are jamming.
Troy Wilkes played a whale of a ball game, 9 tackles, 3 assists, 3 sacks in pacing the post defense to the shutout victory. Troy, your team came out right from the get-go, stunting early, putting the pressure on St. John's.
Yeah, I think the key today was we all wanted to stop Russo. He's been there running attack all year. I think by stunting, we caught him off guard, and we did good job against him.
Coach said that all year long the team had heard about St. John's not being shut out, and that you made the determination, the team did, to be the team that would do that.
Yeah, we got up for this one. We knew it was a Liberty Conference, and defense all came together. Halftime we came out and said we're going to shut them out. We weren't going to let them score any points.
Troy, let's take a look at you in action this afternoon. You were the dominant force, and if you can tell us what we're seeing here and what your mindset was coming into this game.
Just play hard. I want to get some more sacks there. I'm going for a record at CW Post. Try to get outside, not to let the quarterback get outside on me today, and a couple times he did, but I tried chasing him down.
An awful lot of pursuit, as you mentioned on your part. They were going away from you on a number of occasions.
Yeah, a couple times I got caught down inside when I was, we called a wide defense. I was supposed to come hard. The quarterback got outside, but most of the time we want to keep him in the pocket and get the pressure from in the middle.
Well, certainly you accomplished that feat as Troy's teammates shut out St. John's. Final score 41-0. Troy, congratulations on the performance. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I'd just like to say hi to my Coach Wright's wife back home. Hope you feel better.
All right. Troy Wilkes, one of the stars of this post defense. We're going to take a short break here. When we'll come back, we'll have a Metro College scoreboard, run down the scores for you. You won't want to miss it. Stay with us.
Your post office delivery truck is also a pickup truck because Express Mail has pickup service. Call us and we'll pick up as many packages as you have, all for one low